Pat McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes,
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Overreaction Monday, November 30th, 2020, and this SiriusXM sports talk show begins right now. Shout out to Twine for that beat drop. Week 12 NFL Sunday is now in the books. What have we learned? Who's dead? Who's alive? Who's canned? Who's going to get hired? There's so much to talk about, and I want to get to it with all of the boys. At Tone Diggs is here wearing a cowboy hat. Big Steelers game coming up tomorrow night against the Ravens at home. It's supposed to be snowy. After seeing what the Denver Broncos had to go through with 0 quarterbacks on their roster, our Steelers fans a little bit upset by the fact that the NFL decided to postpone the game because the Ravens couldn't get the COVID under control.
Yeah, that's one thing. The Broncos were punished for not wearing masks. The Ravens seemingly weren't punished for their strength coach licking every weight in the building. It's a shame that I figured maybe the NFL thought that the Broncos were playing with no quarterbacks and Lamar Jackson wasn't a quarterback, so him being out doesn't
running
matter.
back. This is the running back thing.
It's actually probably gonna be a closer game with RG triple sticks in there. But then on the other end, the next weekend's game, the Ravens got moved to Monday because they need more time. But the Steelers still have to play on Sunday. It all makes sense.
Oh, so the Steelers have gotten fucked over and over again, but the Steelers say we do not care and they'll move forward. The Broncos yesterday against the Saints, that game's over-under was 36.5, okay? When you see a 36.5 over-under in the NFL and you bet, if you don't bet the over, I feel like you have no respect for football.
Yep.
Okay? I thought the Saints were potentially going to score in the 30s, which they did, by the way.
Yes.
And somehow the Broncos, no matter, I don't even know if I knew that guy existed before he started yesterday, Mr. Keelan Hilton or whatever his name is. I assume at some point you're going to score at least 7 points. You're going to score. Now, granted, they did score, but that guy was maybe, okay, the worst quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
All right? And that's saying something because there's bad quarterback play all the time. Now, he did not get a chance, okay? Saturday walkthrough, the Denver Broncos found out that their quarterbacks were not going to be available. They were sprinting off the field from what I've been told on Saturday during walkthrough. So the Broncos were definitely sideswiped by this entire thing. And, oh, buddy didn't even know a lot of the people in the building by the time. He got put in a terrible position. But goddamn, you can't be that bad. There had to be somebody in that building, wide receiver maybe. I think Jerry Jeudy even said something like, hey, I'll go and do it. There had to be somebody in that building that could have, caught snaps like Philip Lindsay did, okay, like Melvin did. They did that a little bit. And then old buddy would get in there. And I respect the fact that he was ready to, he let it fly. Like some people, if you're in that position, maybe be scared. You'll take a big hit. He took a lot. Cameron Jordan was just ragdolling him every single time he got a chance. But that kid would step up and he would let it fly, okay? So there's something to be said about that, okay? There's something to be said about somebody who'll go in there in a circumstance that's insane. Haven't played quarterback since 2017 at Wake Forest. You move to wide receiver, and you'll step up in the pocket, and you will go for it. But he was terrible. He was very, very bad at what he was doing. And it's not his fault. He was put in a situation that was very bad, obviously. And the Broncos completed only one pass for 13 yards in yesterday's loss against the Saints. They are the first team with 1 or fewer completions and fewer than 20 pass yards in a game since the San Diego Chargers did it in Week 3 of 1998. With Ryan Leaf completing 1 of 15 for 4 yards or whatever. That's a tough game for Ryan Leaf or whatever. But I think my biggest issue with this whole thing, obviously, is the fact that he got thrown into a bad situation. Okay, nobody was expecting that kid to go out there and be goddamn, Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Okay, nobody was expecting him to do that. But after the game, after they just got 31-3, okay, didn't hit the over. Unbelievably, did not hit the over. And Fox actually said, this game stinks. We're going to cut away from it. And they go to some other game. Can't even watch the end of it. They were all celebrating with him, like dapping him up. And there was a lot of people on the internet, like respect and salute and stuff like that. Like respect and salute, like stepping in there and doing it. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, way to go.
Nice job.
But the Denver Broncos dapping him up as if that was something good. Like, yo, you participated in the NFL. Congratulations. Like, what are we celebrating for? Now, and I might be like, hey, old man, get off my porch type look at it. But I didn't understand that coming from, like, they were smiling. Like, hey, we just lost 31-3. 3, no big deal. How you doing? Way to go. You completed one pass. It was a screen pass. You almost incompleted that too. That was almost in the ground. Like, here we go. Way to go. We appreciate you. Like, I respect the human. All right? I respect the human for getting in there and doing a job that nobody could have expected him to do. But they were fucking terrible. And the fact that they were celebrating afterwards, I'm like, is all hope lost in Denver? Like, I think you should start to wonder about that Denver locker room if they're celebrating after that performance, as opposed to being like, hey, we appreciate you. Like, thanks for doing that. You were put in a terrible role, which I'm assuming a lot of people did. There was like full-on embraces and hugs as if they, I once seeing that, because the game got turned off on TV I was watching, right? And then it was blacked out on the other channel. So I literally couldn't watch it. I had to find out on the internet that the over didn't hit. And then I see videos on the internet start hitting like nothing but respect for this man. It's him walking on the field after, and they're like hugging him. Like, did I miss? Like, did they fucking score 28 points in the last 2 minutes? Like, what are they doing? Anyways, good for that guy. It's a shame that the Broncos had to play a game with 0 NFL quarterbacks. It sucks for them. I guess the meeting they were in, that cameras were on them. They didn't have masks on. Hey, they forgot during that meeting.
Takes all of us.
Takes all of us. Can't do it. Won't do it. Now, they did practice, I think, the rest of the week with the team, and they did the walkthrough the day before the game, and they were told that they have to leave immediately. So who knows if that spread even more. But I didn't like the whole, like, hey, good job. You participated in football. It's like, yo, is this not the fucking NFL now? What are we doing? At Boston Connor, New England Patriots are not dead.
No.
Cam Newton's abilities might be, but the New England Patriots are not dead. Big win against the Arizona Cardinals. And I think at this point, you have to respect the Arizona Cardinals' talent. Okay, you have to respect their talent. I think they have a lot of talented players, and maybe they'll be good going forward. But mentally, I'm not sure they're a team that's going to show up every single week. Now, that might be because Bill Belichick did that to them, which is not being talked about at all. Bill Belichick is that type of guy. He will make you play left-handed, which is what Kyler Murray basically said they did. But that team seems to come and go so much, you can't really put any faith in them. But if you're a Patriots fan, you're like, what, we're back, huh?
Oh, yeah. As Cam Newton said, rather have an ugly win than a pretty loss. Couldn't agree more. And before
Cam Newton said that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Only one ever.
That's fine.
Only one ever to say that. Yeah, Nick Foles said that, I think, in a very passionate speech a few weeks ago. I believe Aaron Rodgers said that last year. But Cam Newton said it first.
First one to say it. Thank you. But before the season, you talked about it. The Patriots are going to win a few games because of Bill Belichick. And yesterday was the perfect example of that. He had his second lowest passing total, his second lowest rushing total. I mean, we did what we did. Hopkins only had 55 yards receiving. I mean, obviously Gilmore, but he hasn't had a great season either. Feels good to be in the hunt.
A lot of people in the comment section talking about Sarah Fuller and congratulating her to the Keegan Hilton situation. It's the NFL and it's fucking Vanderbilt football, okay? So it's two different takes. And let's talk about the Sarah Fuller. By the way, congrats to the Patriots getting it.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
But the Sarah Fuller kicking situation, I think, is one that is very – and I think people know that if anybody kicks anything, I am going to get mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like I am – and by the way, on purpose, it is designed, okay? I would like to be a voice of the brand. The brand never had a voice before. It had somebody that talked for it, but I didn't think it spoke for it in a particular fashion that most kickers and punters are. So I've kind of done that, try to put a light on how difficult it is, how many things are going on. And although you can't view us as other football players, we understand that. I mean, our jobs are nowhere near as physically demanding or mentally tasking, but it is a craft that you have to specialize in and be good. And also a rather important part of the entire game that has been kind of shooed and shunned upon by the commentators who fucking suck, most of them, at doing what their jobs are. So I found a lane here, and I'm going to talk about kicking and punting. And literally since retirement, I've done that. And I think I've helped out the brand a lot. I've tried my best to. Now, granted, there's a lot of incredible kickers and punters out there who put on a show every single week. And if I get a chance to talk about it or somebody else talks about it, like, I'm incredibly happy for. But anytime somebody kicks something, punts something, or does anything like that, I'm going to get tweeted about it. All right, I'm going to get 1,000 tweets. Okay, so as soon as the Sarah Fuller thing happened, obviously I was immediately tweeted about. And if you heard me talk about it on Friday, I talked about how a couple years before this, like maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, at one of the regional combines, a girl was going to try out to kick. So these regional combines the NFL does, it's basically a hustle to get like $100 out of people for them to work out. Rarely ever works. Adam Thielen actually went through this process and made it. And he said when he was there, he was looking around at people that should not have been there, okay? It was like Invincible and Vince Papale was running in the parking lot. I guess that is kind of what these workouts are. But the NFL says, hey, no stone left unturned. If you think you have a chance, come in there. It's worked for Thielen. I'm assuming it's worked for other people. But the big storyline around one of them was this female kicker that was going to come in. And she had a lot of hype around her. And obviously, I was just getting a lot of tweets about it and everything like that. I did not talk about it at all because I had not seen her do anything or whatever. And then I watched her do an interview before the regional combine. She's like, I'm going to go for those 60s. I'm like, okay, so this person has never been around somebody that's kicked before because that is not how you speak. It felt like it was potentially a publicity stunt by this lady. Now, she did a kickoff in a regional combine. I think it went 4 yards. She got a commercial out of it afterwards. It did feel like it was a publicity stunt. The reason why I talked about the Sarah Fuller situation, because I don't think it was a publicity stunt. This was a situation where she didn't ask to do this. Vanderbilt football, I felt, if I'm reading the story right, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure the internet will, Vanderbilt needed her to do this. So they don't have a men's soccer team. Okay, they have a women's soccer team who is currently under the SEC COVID protocols. They just won the SEC championship. All the students are not on campus because they've been sent home. So literally, if they have nobody on the entire roster that can kick, their only option was the women's soccer team. Now, she obviously 6'2" goalkeeper who kicks, what are those called? Goal kicks. Yep. I haven't played soccer in a long time. You get a goal kicks and free kicks probably in her own end. Big ball. They were probably like, oh, she's 6'2", she's goalie, she's scrappy, she's not scared to put her face in front of a ball that's flying, and she has a big leg. This is your kicker. So I think the difference between Sarah Fuller and a lot of other situations is I don't think Sarah was out asking for this. An opportunity presented itself, and Sarah was like, yes, I'll do this. Okay, so I think that's the first thing that the internet who was attacking her for this needs to reconsider whenever you're going after her. It wasn't like she was calling the Vanderbilt football team, that is terrible, and saying, hey, I should be your kicker. I can be better for you than what you have, right? She wasn't doing that. They needed a kicker. They don't have a men's soccer team. Nobody on their team obviously could kick. They call her in to kick, okay? So she's there kicking now. And they showed her in practice. There was a couple kicks. They didn't show the ball flight, though, right? And I mentioned on Friday beforehand that Carly Lloyd was the first woman kicker that I've ever seen that had enough pop that if she was to stick with it, I thought there was a chance, like if she was able to do that every single kick and was able to get the timing down and was able to continue to build up, I thought Carly Lloyd had a chance because she already had a world champion mindset, which is a big deal in kicking. She had enough leg speed, it looked like, whenever the video kick, where if she was to work on it, she would potentially have a chance to be a kicker, like a real kicker. Now, you got to remember that pop and leg speed, there's people that kick since they're in high school, junior high, that don't have it. Like, this is not a normal thing. That's why there's only 32 kickers in the NFL, only 32 punters in the NFL, and why in college you see a lot of college kickers suck because they don't have it. It's a very difficult thing to have. So whenever they were showing her clips on the internet before the game, it was in practice when she high-fived to hold her and everything, they didn't show the ball flight at all, okay? And that was a little bit alarming for me. I was like, okay, not even showing the ball flight. Is that because they don't want Mizzou to see it or whatever, or who knows? Because they're going to see it eventually. This is going to happen. But I did like how everybody was celebrating with her. I'm like, okay, those balls must be going through. Here we go. So then get to warm-ups, and she kicked off from the extra point line, which is the 3-yard line. Then she went over to the left hash and over the right hash, and she was kicking, and they showed some of them. And those balls looked a bit low, okay? But I was like, hey, this girl just started kicking footballs, though, a couple days ago. It's not just like kicking a soccer ball. It's two very different things. Obviously, she'll continue to go. Never got to see her attempt a field goal, I don't believe, or an extra point with the op. Never got to see the ball flight. What I saw from those 3 warm-up balls would have got blocked, but would happen to 99.999% of humans, regardless if you played soccer or not, your ball is probably going to get blocked. So then she does the kickoff, and she didn't have the ball on the tee. It was being held by somebody, and the hold was a bad hold, okay? It was a bad hold anyways. But I assume that she wasn't kicking off the tee because she's used to kicking a ball off the ground, and the tee can kind of change some things. And when she kicked the ball, boy, the internet lit up, right? I mean, the internet went bonkers. I gave her a shout out. I said, hey, listen, didn't kick the ball out of bounds, okay, which I have done and a lot of other kickers have done. You didn't give up a touchdown, which I have done and a lot of other kickers have done. You set up your D. They were at the 35-yard line, but you didn't give them a short field behind you. It seems like this was a job well done. First ever woman to kick in a Power 5 game. Congrats.
Yes, Sarah!
Congrats to Sarah Fuller. The internet hated the fact that this girl did this. Now, do I think she was trying to kick the ball deep? No, I don't think so. Now, granted, that hold, if she did try to kick it deep, she probably would have kicked it out of bounds because the ball was leaning towards her, not away from her, which every soccer-style kicker should know. So she had nobody in her ear, like, helping her out with anything, it feels like, in this whole thing. I don't think she was trying to kick it deep because even whenever you're trying to kick soccer ball and you're trying to kick it far, you're going to get through it. She didn't get through that at all. It seemed like she punched it to the right. Was it supposed to go further than that? I would assume the expectation was it was going to go a little bit further, but it was a obvious squib, low kick to the right, no return. Here we go. Nobody's hurt. Didn't give up a touchdown. Let's get off the field. So obviously the internet went crazy. They hate her for this. This is a publicity stunt. Once again, I think the difference between a publicity stunt and not a publicity stunt is the person doing the publicity stunt offering up to do something. This was something like she was asked, and now granted she took advantage of the opportunity, and she became the first person to ever do something, which is incredibly difficult to do in the world that we're in now. It feels like everything's been done by everybody. So I think that is something that should be congratulated. Now, what I have found out since this thing is a little bit, tough. This is a little bit tough. I guess she gave a speech at halftime, okay? And this is being reported by a lady named Courtney Cronin, or what was the tweet? Yeah, Courtney Cronin, at Courtney R. Cronin. I just got off a Zoom call with Vanderbilt kicker Sarah Fuller, who detailed the halftime speech she gave in the reception it received. Okay, so Courtney Cronin says in her Zoom call with Sarah Fuller, if I'm going to be honest, I was a little pissed off at how quiet everybody was on the sideline. We made a first down. I was the only one cheering, and I was like, what the heck? What's going on? And I tried to get them pumped up, and I was like, you guys need to start your team on. You guys need to cheer your team on, I assume. Now, Courtney could have done her some favors there. You know what I mean? Like she could have, go on. My main thing was during the SEC tournament, my entire team was cheering the entire time. It didn't matter. If we were in the locker room or if they were on the sidelines, I think that's what's won it for us. Everybody was cheering nonstop. I just went in there and I said exactly what I was thinking. I was like, we need to be cheering each other on. This is how you win games. This is how you get better, by calling each other out for stuff, and I'm going to call you guys out. We need to be supporting one another. If we get a first down, if we get an interception, if an interception happens, it's our fault. We need to be lifting each other up. That's what a team's about. I think this team has struggled, and that's been a part of it. We really just need to build that team camaraderie where they can all lean on one another. It was an adjustment going from that team mentality where, hey, we're all supporting one another, and I just wanted to bring that to this team. Okay, now listen. I've been voted captain for numerous teams by my peers, all right? And this is something I respect Sarah Fuller for having the courage that I would never have in a football locker room. If you're a kicker or punter, I don't know if you should ever speak at halftime whenever people are just running their heads into each other and potentially doing things. And it's not really, I never felt as if it was a place for me. Now, once again, I have been voted captain by my teammates a couple different times, and there wasn't a single time at halftime where I thought to myself, hey, these motherfuckers need to hear what I got to say. So that is something I think I'm a little bit, okay, like if I was to say she did one thing wrong, it would be that particular situation. But granted, you got to remember, she had nobody around her telling her anything about how she's supposed to act or do. If you look at the way the ball was tilted on her kickoff, there's nobody giving her any. So I think she was obviously trying her best. She just won an SEC championship and everything like that. But that is the one thing where I could see how everybody on earth would be like, yo, are you fucking kidding me? Not because she's the first ever woman to kick a Power 5 game, or that she's a woman in general, but just the role of a kicker punter is not a halftime. And I feel like I'm a good speaker. I feel like I could potentially give a hell of a halftime speech, but there's never been a time where I was like, you know what? These people need to hear what I have to say. So I am not saying that Sarah Fuller is going to be in the NFL. Okay? I am not saying that Sarah Fuller's kickoff was the greatest kickoff I've ever seen. What I'm saying is Sarah Fuller wasn't asking to do this. She was needed to do this. She did her job. She jogged off the field. If I could take back anything, if I was talking to Sarah Fuller, it would be talking to her before the game being, hey, like at halftime, don't fucking say a word, all right? They got a lot of other shit to figure out. That team's terrible. Okay, I don't think just cheering each other on is the problem. There's probably a lot of strategery issues we got going on, scheme, potential player. There's a lot of stuff going on. But aside from that, I think the Sarah Fuller hate should stop. I don't think it's one that's real. Now, granted, the halftime speech, old Courtney Cronin set her up for failure, basically saying that out there. But I other than that, it's just like, I think we should lay off a little bit because Vanderbilt stinks.
Fire their coach.
They fired the coach immediately afterwards, So potentially Sarah Fuller, maybe she gets a head coaching gig. I'm not 100% sure.
Is it common for like non-captains to kind of give halftime speeches, or is that something you lead to leadership?
So in the NFL, the captain thing is normally bullshit, right? Okay. The C's that you see, now granted, if it's a team vote, they normally try to hype that up as the team voted for these captains. But usually the team vote is, hey, everybody write on a piece of paper. Cool. See you. How you doing? Keep it moving. This is who you guys voted for. Because there was a couple times after So I got voted the first year. Bruce Arians was the interim head coach. Okay, so it was a new locker room, knew everything. Did a team vote, and I think BA. The reason why I think they actually listened to the team vote is because it was the first time where team captains came from a voting thing, where everybody was like, "Who fucking?" So normally, whenever the team vote thing happens, somebody gets voted captain, and then immediately after that meeting, there's like who fucking voted for blah, blah, blah. And not me, no, me neither. Okay, so this is all bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's the captaincy that you see sometimes. I'm not saying everywhere, but sometimes that is just a front. Right? Yeah. That is just a fraud. That is a fake. That is who the team wants to be, the franchise players. Here it is. But in the locker room, normally there's guys that don't have C's because maybe for whatever reason, front office doesn't like him or coach doesn't like him, and they speak and everybody's like, okay, that's our guy. Go. Yeah, you know what I mean? But to speak in a locker room is a big deal. And it was never one that at halftime or before a game I thought to myself, and I feel like I've accomplished a lot in the football world, where I was like, they need to hear me right now.
My day.
Which is wild. So I think that is one little thing that if I could talk to Sarah Fuller, I'd be like, okay, listen, don't do that, all right? Because you're asking to get a lot of hate now for doing something that not just normally kickers or punters would do. It's just like there's a lot of other shit going on, so maybe don't. And also lean that ball away from you. Okay, like let's get a better lean here. Let's kick from the extra point line, not the snap line. But all these things make me feel as if there was nobody telling her anything. Like, you know what I mean? So they just kind of dropped Sarah Fuller in there. It was like, here you go.
Good luck. She'll be fine.
Yeah, this is it. So like there's a lot of things there, and I think the hate that she got on the internet was a little bit ridiculous. That's all I want to say about that. Anyways,
well said.
Ty Schmidt, Packers fucking killed the Bears. At Viva Lazito, what is your poll for the day? We got to get to a break before we have no, we don't. We got to get to a break before we get some phone calls and some reaction from the internet. What's your poll for the day?
Today we went with who's next. We have at last place right now Doug Marrone, 9.6%, Anthony Lynn, 19.2%, Matt Nagy, 31.2%, and Adam Gase leading it off 40%.
Yeah, a little Goldberg reference there. Who's next? David Caldwell, general manager of the Jaguars, gone. Matt Patricia, Bob Quinn, head coach and general manager for the Lions, gone. Feels like there's a potential couple more moves coming within the next couple days. It's that time of year where the NFL owners say, all right, we're preparing for next year. Yeah. Good, get on. Tom Pelissaro, I guess, has an update for the Ravens-Steelers game. Tom Pelissaro tweeted 11 minutes ago, here's where Tuesday's game stands per sources. If all the Ravens COVID-19 tests come back negative this afternoon, the plan is to practice and travel to Pittsburgh tonight. If any more players or Tier 1 personnel test positive, the game most likely would be postponed again. If there is an additional positive test or tests, the decision on whether the game can proceed Tuesday will depend in part on who it is. Was it someone the NFL medical experts anticipated might test positive, part of the outbreak or unrelated community spread? All that factor in. Okay, here we go. Game's probably not happening. They just had another positive yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So they would have to have all negatives today. Hopefully they have it under control. Hopefully the game happens tomorrow night. If it doesn't, week 18 happens, which means if another game happens for the Ravens or the Steelers, that potentially means 16 team playoff. Yeah! Which is good for teams that are trying to sneak in the back door and get good hot and get hot late, like the New England Patriots potentially. On the other side, we answer some phone calls. We'll talk more about everything that happened in the NFL yesterday. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Last night I was roaming around Canal and Bourbon, and it was a lot of purple. And when you get that Mercedes-Benz Dome, and it starts getting loud and it gets rompous, obviously, not only for momentum and swings like that it can help, but for the defensive line to get a jump. I think that is a big deal. A lot of freak athletes on the field, and kickers are a spectacle no matter what happens. Whenever you're in those high-pressure moments, you normally fall back on your fundamentals. You normally fall back on your technique. You try to take your brain out of it. Cade York hits a beautiful ball.
One person up in the parking garage.
Think about him warming up right now. There's just three dudes in suits breaking down every single move he makes during his warm-up. What a wild scene here for Trevor Lawrence.
Quarterback, number 9, Joe Burrow.
You're supposed to be some draft expert, and you say Joe Burrow was a 5th-round draft pick before this year. Now he's number 1 overall. Yeah. What do you know? What do you know, Todd? Tim, you are so handsome, it's ridiculous. What do you think has been happening this first quarter? Why has Joe Burrow been stumped by this Clemson defense?
I think Brent Venables is the best DC in the country, and it's honestly not a shock to me. He did this to Tua last year.
Odell Beckham just stopped by.
Odell's very excited.
Odell's happy with the 52-yard attempt coming from the kid from Clemson. I've seen Odell make this with a spinning ball. And BT Potter puts it through from 52 in Odell's. Not in your face. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't in your face. You weren't looking at it.
That's a career high for BT Potter.
Bro, imagine Joe Burrow just having to stand in there and know that Isaiah Simmons is scot-free right in your suckle. That's a bad call. No chance Alberto Riverrod would turn that over. He was in the Broncos organization.
Oh, shit. Hey, Steven, fuck you.
And it is off the wall.
Don't cut. This is a good at-bat. Hey, nice pitch. I think I just pulled a hammy. Hey. Back. Hey, fuck you, Steven. What inning is it?
Top of the second.
Jesus. Here comes McAfee.
I saw that thing jumping out of the glove.
Hey. What was that? Would have been nice to take a nap earlier.
Another throw.
Get back.
First. He's going back on it now, coming over the center fielder. Harris makes the catch.
Cousin. James. What was that? And the catcher goes, I had to give you one.
1-1 pitch.
Let's go.
Line drive. Right
Son of a
at the
bitch. This is a good at-bat. Oh, shit. In my head, it was like, oh, yeah, you're going to drop this for sure. What the fuck are you even doing here? Why'd we sign up for this? What's going on? It all comes down to this. My last at-bat. Hey, I'm going to get on. You bring me home.
This is your life on the line, fucker.
Let me tell you something. You're going to take an L, okay? You're going to take one. So I think that the close your eyes and swing method is perfect. Oh, this is hardball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Jesus. You have no prayer.
Now batting, number 1, right fielder, Pat McAfee.
I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC-regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us.
I love it.
The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
The holidays here. Yeah, you get it. The holidays are here. Have you made your wish list yet?
No, not yet.
Our sponsor today has the number 1 wish for gift of the year, Manscaped, the best in men's below and above the belt grooming. Manscaped is here to ensure you're taking care of your manhood and your nose hair with their new performance package. Ho, 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 fellas, naughty or nice, 'tis the season to perform. You're in luck because Manscaped Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle and makes for the perfect gift. Imagine opening an attractive box that says your balls will thank you with the most sought-after gadgets and scents a person could find. Included in this new package is the Weed Whacker, which is an ear and nose hair trimmer, which is waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. Whoa. Look, guys, 79% of partners polled admitted that long nose hairs is a major turnoff. Why not use the best tools for the job here? This bundle includes the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, the best trimmer on the market for your balls, butt, and body. The dads can't stop talking about this. The young secretly buy this, and the women love you for it. 'Tis the season of Manscaped, so get yourself, your dad, your brother, and friends the best gift of all, the Manscaped Performance Package. Get the Performance Package now and receive their 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. The Performance Package is the best value that Manscaped has to offer, and it's hot off the shelves. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PAT at manscaped.com. Thank you, Manscaped, for making our holes look sexy. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code PAT at manscaped.com. 20% off free shipping, manscaped.com, code PAT. What are you waiting for? Go whack your weeds and make Santa proud. Woo! Shout out to them, man. That Weed Whacker, 9,000 RPM motor, no joke, dude.
Must have.
And it has some proprietary technology that makes it nick-free whenever you skin it.
Clutch.
Yeah. No, so you won't hurt your skin. You get it. Not nick as in at Nick Moraldo. We're talking about nicking as in whenever you're normally manscaping yourself and you get a
oh my God, there's blood everywhere.
And then, you feel as if there's a horror film happening both below the belt and above the belt. And you're like, what the hell's going on? It's like, well, that doesn't happen anymore because Manscaped changed the game. Manscaped.com, promo code PAT, 20% off and free shipping plus 2 free gifts.
Wow.
Whenever you buy the performance package.
Oh, wow.
Merry
It's pretty good
Christmas.
shit.
That's awesome.
Colts got fucking mollywhopped by the Titans yesterday. I mean, Derrick Henry ran for 178. 178 yards. That's one of those things where normally Derrick Henry, like fourth quarter, like last week, fourth quarter, he just goes and starts opening up. He opened up from the first series against the Colts. 27 carries, 178 rush yards, 3 rush touchdowns, and a win, obviously. It was unbelievable to watch him. The one was a swing pass, but the ball was thrown backwards, so it counted as a rush. That was awesome to watch. Just as a Colts fan, tough to watch, obviously. But anytime you have a defensive end doing what he's doing, and whenever you're out DeForest Buckner right in the middle of your D-line, and you're playing against a team that takes advantage of the middle of defensive lines, I think any Colts fan that saw the injury report knew what was potentially coming down the pipe, especially because it was a divisional game. I actually took Titans +3, and I felt very good about 2.5 minutes into the game. Just because the DeForest Buckner being out, they had numerous injuries. I mean, that is tough to get over. Now, everybody, local media in Indianapolis, talking about how they need more depth to D-line. It's like, yeah, you can have depth, but when you got a first-round draft pick like DeForest Buckner in there and you lose him, that's going to be problematic. It doesn't matter how deep you are. So I don't think we can completely bury the Colts, but I do believe we should think about talking about the Titans again like we did last year as a team that could potentially surprise somebody, especially if the middle of their defense has any injuries or they're out, maybe COVID happens. Look for the Titans to go do damage. They kicked the shit out of the Colts yesterday.
No, and I don't know if this makes sense, but they have Derrick Henry running back, and then they have the most Derrick Henry-like wide receiver potentially in the league with A.J. Brown. They're bullies.
Yeah, they are. And that's Vrabel's style, right? I mean, they're the ones that went out onto the Ravens' shield.
Uh-huh. They're not defending.
What does that thing look like, by the way? What does the Ravens thing look like? Nobody knows, but they went out there. They went out there on the shield. And, I think that's the way they want to play. They want to be known as like the tough guy team. Like, hey, we're a bully team. And now they did it to the Colts yesterday. T.Y. Hilton scores his first touchdown of the year. Happy for T.Y. For whatever reason, T.Y. and Phil haven't been able to get on the same page. T.Y., one of my favorite players of all time. Incredible wide receiver. He scores. But aside from that Tennessee Titans team looked awesome yesterday, and the Colts team did not. But I don't want to judge them because whenever you don't have a guy like Buckner, who, by the way, recovered the fumble in overtime against the Green Bay Packers as a nose tackle out on the outside. I mean, anytime you have that player out, it's going to be a little bit tough. It's going to be difficult. That's just the way it's going to go, especially when you're talking about a team that hammers that part of your defense every single time. I knew it was going to be difficult. So I'm not burying the Colts yet, but goddamn, it might be tough for them to beat a good team whenever we have to.
How about, do you like now that Jacoby Brissett is just a goal line running back?
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know that he was that nimble. It makes sense though, because Phillip Rivers is not a dive guy. No. He's not a QB sneak guy.
He can't move his feet.
While we're talking about the Colts, huge positive vibes being sent to Rigoberto Sanchez, punter for the Indianapolis Colts. He has been unbelievable. He got the gig immediately after I left. He was not drafted. He was an undrafted free agent who was brought in to compete with a guy named Jeff something, who was a lefty punter. He was signed, Locke, out of the Vikings. He was signed to a contract. Rigoberto Sanchez came in, worked his ass off, beat Jeff for the gig, both punting and kicking off, and he has been one of the most dominant punters in the NFL since the day he started, but he punts in a fashion that isn't going to show up in a lot of dumbass reporters like stat sheets because he just eliminates the returner. So he kicks fair catches. He hits the ball to the side. It's very much what we did at the end of my career. He's picked it up and done it even better than I was doing it. He's an incredible talent, really cool dude, hardworking guy, humble dude. He found out, I don't know when he found out, but he's going in for a surgery tomorrow to remove a cancerous tumor that he has on his body. So T's and P's to Rigoberto Sanchez, brother. Can't wait to see you dominate this, just like you've dominated football, and get back on the field. I don't know the extent of it. This is just from the message that he posts. So T's and P's to Rigoberto Sanchez, and we can't wait to see you get back, buddy. That's scary shit, though.
Yeah.
That is scary stuff.
Yeah.
He'll be all right, though. He's tougher than any of us are.
He's a beast.
He's very good at what he does. Very, very good at what he does. Got an onside kick returned to the house by A.J. Brown this weekend. Kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. That is very tough, but he's about to beat the hell out of cancer, which is awesome. He gets that tomorrow, so keep him in your thoughts for sure.
When you're kicking onside kicks like that, is there ever a thought in your mind to prevent that, or you're just doing what?
Yeah, you're supposed to scrape the backside one is supposed to scrape behind, and I think that. The two as well, depending on what the scheme is. You know, you got a certain amount of people funneling to the area, hoping that there's a little bit of a bobble, and then there's supposed to be two scrapers back the other side. Always.
They didn't get there.
No scrapers.
Yeah, but the kicker's not. There's no way you're going to be able to catch that. I mean, it would be a dope tackle if you did that, but it's going to be especially if it's A.J. Brown.
I was going to say, he caught that going full speed already, and it was, that would have been a bad situation.
We had one, we did that against Josh Scobie. He kicked an onside kick to the right, and our guy just scooped it, and it was like a free lane, basically. Gronkowski did that to us one time. I had given up 0 return yards. I think I'd given up 0 return yards until that game. We kick an onside kick. Gronkowski gets it and runs up the sideline a little bit, and I'm just like, get the fuck.
Dude, just go down.
So I just gave up return yards here because of that. I mean, come the fuck on, Gronk. Speaking of Gronk, that Buccaneers team, they got dominated yesterday, and somehow the Chiefs don't cover. Somehow, Chiefs minus 3.5. After you see a guy throw for 400 yards in the first quarter and numerous touchdowns and shut out the Bucs, you go, Chiefs minus 3.5. I knew it. I'm a genius.
Lock.
I am a genius. They don't have A.Q. Shipley playing center because he got the column on his spine tightened up or whatever he had to first. They're going to – I think this Chiefs team is about to come out here, and they're about to have a big game. I think Patrick Mahomes knows the comparisons to Tom Brady. He's acknowledged the comparisons to Tom Brady. So it's not only him, it's his teammates that know that people are comparing him to Tom Brady. So they're going to show up for him in a big fashion, especially because they've been around each other now for numerous years, where Tom has just gotten there. I knew that the Chiefs were potentially going to – in my head, they're going to come out and dominate, and they did. 200-some yards in like the first quarter, 3 touchdowns for Tyreek Hill. How you doing? Keep it moving. Somehow, in the end, though, the Bucs come back, only lose by 3. And that game never felt like it was out of the grip, in the grasp of the Kansas City Chiefs. They could have scored 28 points whenever they wanted to. They just chose not to score enough to cover, so fuck them for that. But I think we learned a lot about the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday, and that is that they are awesome. Tyreek Hill, if you have him in man-to-man coverage, he's going to dominate you. I think 30 NFL teams know that you can't put Tyreek Hill in man-to-man coverage. Okay, you're going to have to drop into a zone. But Bowles is trying his best, I guess, to get pressure on the quarterback, try to get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. But the thing about Patrick Mahomes is whenever you bring pressure, he does even better because he's a great decision maker, and he has that run backwards thing he does, and he can still throw it 60, 70 yards. So whenever you bring pressure, you're obviously giving up something else. You're giving up in the back end any help or anything like that. You put Tyreek Hill one-on-one against anybody, let alone Carlton Davis. That guy had a long-ass day, but it's not his fault. They showed him with his head down. You know, they're like, he's going to be thinking about this. It's like, he is, but you know who else can be thinking about it? Any other corner that is tasked with going Tyreek Hill one-on-one. You got no shot. The guy's name is Cheetah, okay? His name is Cheetah. That's what his friends call him. That's what his thing is on Twitter. He's a goddamn running human. That's what he is. He runs. And somehow he's durable. He takes big shots. He seems to not miss a lot of games. Normally, whenever guys have 1% body fat or 2% body fat, they pull hammies. They do something like that. Tyreek Hill has remained durable. He is an incredible football player, and they go one-on-one. That's a problem. Then you move coverage toward him. You got Travis Kelce. Then you got McCole Hardman. And last night they threw to a guy in 80-something, 83 maybe. I didn't even know he existed. He caught a pass for like 2 yards yesterday. I'm like, they got this guy. I didn't even that guy's going to win a Super Bowl. This is my immediate thought as soon as he caught the ball. And you can look up his name. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 83. He had one. What's that? Alonzo Moore is his name. He catches the ball. As soon as he catches the ball, I go, I didn't know that guy existed. And then I immediately think, that guy's going to win a Super Bowl. Okay. And then for the rest of his life, he's going to talk about being on a Kansas City Chiefs team. And people are going to go, oh, really? And he's going to go, yeah. I was with, Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Le'Veon Bell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, me, obviously.
Zoe Moore.
I was like, good for that guy. Good for that guy. Because at some point, somebody's going to get left open. You can't leave him one-on-one. You have to go zone against him. But if you go zone against him, then he's going to have time to pick you apart. And with Andy Reid's designs, they're going to be able to pick up 7, 8, 9, 10, and then eventually they're going to get 80 on you at some point. They're tough to stop, especially if they care. And it felt like they cared yesterday early. It got so big. You're in Florida. Hey, nice weather.
Nice.
This isn't bad. They're failing. They got relaxed, and then whenever they had to, they put the foot on the gas again.
Yeah, really with the Chiefs, it's how do you want to die? Do you want to die immediately or death by 1,000 paper cuts or whatever? Because they started with the one high safety, and then that was just you saw how that went. And then when they go to two safeties, then they just run for 5-6 yards. Or when they rush forward, Mahomes doesn't even look downfield. He looks at the rush, picks a lane, and then squeaks through there and then hits someone down.
Yeah, and they ran an option play yesterday where he did the college quarterback fake pitch cut up for a first down, and it was just like, of course he's adding that to the highlight reel too. It's like the sprint backwards, throw at 80, the check down, the reads, the no looks, and then also I got a little bit of wiggle if you need it. You know what I mean?
And he would have caught a touchdown pass too if Travis Kelce just, decided even just to shoot a basket if he really wanted to.
Well, the ball got stuck to his glove.
Okay.
By the way, why I never wore a glove on my right hand?
Smart.
People forget. I wore a glove on my left hand to help catch because that son of a bitch does help catch the ball. But the right hand, just if your fingertip just has a little extra moisture on it, which, by the way, down in Florida can't happen, it's going to grab on the ball a little bit. So but you're right. He catches a touchdown probably yesterday.
You can do everything.
I mean, it is them kicking a field goal on that first drive down, okay? That also helps us not cover. They go fourth and an inch. You got Lev Bell right there. Come on. You got fourth and goal on an inch yard line. You got Lev Bell. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire there. You got Sherman back there if you need it. I mean, I feel like, and by the way, your defense got Tom Brady on the inch. But him kicking a field goal there was the least Andy Reid move I've seen out of Andy Reid in a long, long time. But he scores a field goal or scores a touchdown there. We all cover. We're all laughing. That's how we kick field goal. Bucker, shout out Bucker.
What about the other side? I mean,
they're broken. I think
that's a contentious locker room,
bro. Allegedly people are mad at each other. You know what I mean? There's comments coming out about whose fault. It seems like the coaches are always blaming Tom, and then allegedly now Bleacher Report is reporting that there's real tension between Brady and Arians. I guess that's actually Maziano's reporting that from ESPN. The Bucs coach is reportedly unhappy with TB12's performance after the team added weapons he wanted, like Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown, says ESPN's Dan Maziano, reported by Bleacher Report. I mean, yeah, if you're losing games, people are not going to be happy. If you're getting blown out like that, obviously it's not just Tom's fault. There's a lot of things going on, but it does feel like that place is potentially broken. Now, you look at their schedule. They got 4 easy games coming up. They should win the next 4 games. And hopefully in the next 4 games, they'll get a little confidence. You know what I mean? They'll be able to get going because there's zero swag from that team. They all look scared. They all look like they're not enjoying what they're doing. It's very interesting to watch that defense against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay a couple years ago. And now that defense playing against anybody else. It's that whole they need they need a glue guy down there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They need a glue
guy.
guy.
They need a glue guy down there that's like, hey, boys, let's go ahead and we got enough talent, boys. We got all the pieces we just needed here. So I don't know if that's a coaching thing or, maybe a Sarah Fuller needs to get in there like day to day in the locker room, like that type of player who wants to say like, hey, we need to do some more stuff. But for me, that is something that's something that they need is a little bit more swag. It feels like they need a lot more swag. And that swag and confidence comes from success. And success comes from your fundamentals, which are learned in practice, which it feels like once you start looking at it all, it feels like they got a lot to figure out down there. But they are not playing how I thought they were going to be playing. They're not playing how most people thought they were going to play. They actually alluded to that during the game yesterday where Bruce Arians came out and said, they gave us the Super Bowl in August or whatever, whenever we were. And I feel like a lot of people thought that because of how talented their roster was. That was before Antonio Brown, who's still good at football, by the way. Still good at football. I don't know how it's going to work out down there. Who knows what the future is down there in Tampa, by the way? Is Tom done after this year? Is Tom going to fall out of love with football after this year? After 20 years of having, success and being on top of the world, and you've made over, a few $100 million at this point? You got other companies blossoming. Your family's growing up. Do you just go, 6 Super Bowls is good enough for me? Or do you say, this is one more challenge for me. Let's see what happens. Is BA going to be there next year? Who knows? Is that offense going to remain the same? Who knows? The next 4 games, though, Foxy just had it up on the screen. They got the Vikings, the Falcons twice, and the Lions. Okay, so the Vikings could potentially, they got to bye this week. The Vikings could potentially pose a threat depending on which Vikings team shows up. There's another question mark team, the Vikings. They get a big win yesterday, but you have no idea what Vikings team's going to show up. The Falcons, who they blew the doors off of the Raiders. Okay, the Raiders, are they who we thought they were? What happened to them? Maybe it was just a bad outing. Seemed like that was the case. They got fined $500,000 for mass stuff. The Saints got fined $355,000 for mass stuff. The Patriots got fined $200 and some thousand for the mass stuff. Whoa. Some team also lost a 7th-round pick. I think it was the Saints. Saints. So the Falcons, though, they got them 2 out of the last, 5 weeks or whatever after this bye, or 4 weeks after this bye. The Falcons, if they play like they played against the Raiders, I think the Buccaneers potentially problematic, but they should win those games, okay? The Buccaneers should win those games. They should beat the Lions. Now, the Lions, they don't have a GM anymore, okay? It's COVID, so they can't even work out players. So if somebody gets hurt, who's going to get signed? Who's making the decision? The Ford family is deciding who's coming in and playing. I mean, that's a very interesting thing. So the Buccaneers should and could win out. And if they win out, do they find confidence? Do they find how they're going to win games? Do they find their recipe? And then when they get into the playoffs, do they make something happen because they have Tom Brady? That's what everybody's hoping if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. But after watching yesterday, you got to be like, God damn, this team is broken. And although they pulled it back in within 3, the spread was 3.5, which is unfucking believable. They look like they got dominated from start to finish yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any thought by the Buccaneers front office to let go of BA and say, you know what, Tom, you got 6 Super Bowls. Just put on the head coach hat and let's go get this thing done.
Jackie Moon, Tom Brady, your head coach, your quarterback.
Why not?
Your halftime entertainment. Jackie Moon. I don't know. It'll probably be somebody, though, that he would want. I thought about this yesterday. Imagine McDaniels down there running that offense with Gronk, Antonio, Godwin, Evans, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, who's a stud. I think he only ran the ball like 9 times yesterday or whatever. He was seemed like gaining yards a lot, and that's what a lot of people are questioning is why don't they run the ball? Because the run then sets up the pass, and he's the number 2 most efficient quarterback after play action, but they're the number 30th team in the NFL with how much play action they run via Hembo of Get Up on ESPN, one of his stats. In their play action, if you look at it, if you actually watch the games, which I have because early I said I thought they were going to be in the Super Bowl, their play action isn't really play action either. It's like a fake ass. It's not even like a real play action because it looks nothing like the run plays. So the run plays look a lot different than their play action looks. So even though those stats are being awarded for play action, I guess it does keep linebackers in a little bit, which is what play action is. It's not even like a real play action either. So there's a lot I think you could talk about with that offense, that defense, that team in general. But it feels like they need a glue guy in that locker room. Be like, hey, boys, let's fucking get it together here.
Ronald Jones had 9 carries for 66 yards.
That's what yeah, exactly. 11 altogether. I think they give Leonard Fournette 2 times or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Bucs fans hate when Leonard Fournette gets the ball.
They do.
They drew a play for him to throw the ball to Fournette. He dropped it or got tackled or something. And the internet was like, if they script another play for Fournette, I'm going to kill him. Shout out to you. How about Dallas, by the way, having 31,500 people in the stands? Tampa, I think, had a bunch down there.
It's massive.
And then Green Bay let, 14, 15 people in?
Yeah, like 500, I think.
By the way, the Packers are awesome to watch, dude.
So good.
Can't believe I ever thought that game was going to be close. I mean, I did after the first drive, and it was like, oh, okay, the Bears fucking stink.
By the way, look at the hold on the extra point. A lot of people are probably going to blame Mason Crosby for that. He's missed 2 extra points this year, I guess. Ball seemed to be moving while he was kicking it, which is not great. Now, that's just quick me looking at it and seeing the ball move. And right before he kicks, I go, oh, actually is what I said. And then the ball goes to right. I'm like, well, yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Knew that.
But Mason, JK, that defense, if Smith is going to continue, Preston Smith is going to continue to play like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be great. They paid him all that money. That was like the first. This is like the first good game he's had all year. So
okay, well, hopefully, take the top off.
Yeah.
Take the top off. Let's get it going.
A lot of people were saying because they started Rashawn Gary over him, so maybe like a little, check him a little bit. Yeah,
Bears offense, good offense, get going again.
For sure.
Yeah, what's that?
Bears offense, good offense, get going.
Well, and on the flip side, Bears defense is a good team to go get a win against after losing in overtime, right? I mean, that was it. Aaron was just I mean, Aaron was Aaron.
Lights out.
He was slinging it. He looked like Bob Ross on that football field last night. That was the tweet I put. In my head, I'm like, how do I even compare this dude playing football right now? It literally looks like a Bob Ross painting. He's basically telling everybody what he's going to do, and then he just does it in such a beautiful fashion. That third look, sidearm, touchdown to Lazard or whatever. He's, by the way, and I assume he's been doing this for a long time in Mahomes. I've been giving Mahomes the run backwards and then throw the ball. If you have an incredibly strong arm, that might be the best weapon you have as a quarterback, is just sprint backwards and then keep your eyes downfield and then throw it off your back foot. That is something not a lot of quarterbacks can do. There's only a few, and it looked like he was doing that last night a couple times.
And that's what's so frustrating is because he could have thrown for like 8 touchdowns last night. They could have won by 35-42 if they wanted to. And one of these times, I just want them to let him loose. It's like, you know what, Aaron? Throw 9 touchdowns tonight. Let's do it.
Let's go to Mike in Nebraska. What's going on, Mike?
Nebraska.
Hey, Pat, what's up, boys?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, not much, man. Hey, I'm glad I finally got through to you guys, man. It's my birthday today, so what a special day.
Let's go. Happy birthday, Mike. Happy for you, man.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Hey, I got a quick question for you. I know it's Overreaction Monday.
Hell yeah.
And I've been a Rams fan my whole life. Marshall Faulk, greatest show on turf. Loved them to death all the way through, all the shitty seasons. I mean, we can all agree they were pretty bad for a while. But
shitty stadium, too.
This year, I'm ready to let go of Jared Goff.
Oh!
There's no security. Dude. He goes out on the field, and the game's on the line, and I don't feel comfortable with him. So you think McVay should get rid of him and draft a quarterback this year?
McVay did come out and say something about the quarterback needs to be better with the ball. Yeah, our quarterback has to take care of the ball better. At Around the NFL said about Sean McVay on Jared Goff's 3 turnovers and Rams loss to the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers sweep the Rams this year. That's 2 wins for the 49ers. Maybe Shanahan in Salah just have it. They just know what the Rams do. And you got to remember, when you're in a division with a team, you build your team around winning the division, okay? And a lot of people know that the Chiefs seem like they've just built their team to beat everybody that has ever played football, and that's accurate. But if you look at the Raiders and you look at the other teams in their division, they're building to try to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I would assume whenever you look at that Rams team from a couple years ago when they ran to the Super Bowl, everybody was thinking like, oh, this is going to be the team that we have to beat for the next 5 to 10 years. Dynasty. Sean McVay was getting people hired all over the NFL that just hung out with him for a couple minutes. They were giving max contracts to everybody. Now, here we are a few years later, and it feels like a lot of that has crashed down. Now, are the Rams still a good team? Yes. But if you move on from Goff, I couldn't even imagine the cap hit that'll be, the amount of money that you have left in the salary cap, especially with the cap going down. I don't know where your picks are, but if you move on from Goff, you're expecting somebody else to be able to jump into that position and do whatever. I'll be intrigued to see how that plays out with everything. What's up, Dennis?
So he's got 4 years left on his contract. The next 2, though, next year is $65 million in dead cap, and then the year after that is $30 million. So you're stuck with him for the next 2 seasons. After that, it's only $8 million.
Okay, so let's go with that $65 million cap hit next year. They're saying the salary cap's going down to $170 million. So in proportion, I would assume that is going to move as well for his cap hit in proportion of what the salary cap goes down. Every contract's going to go down. Then they're going to spread that out amongst the next 10 years, I guess, is the agreement between the NFLPA and the NFL about that. You're probably down to what, $130 million then? $120 million if you cut that down? So you only have $120 million to build the rest of the team around Goff. You're pretty much fucked, Mike. Don't know how to tell you this. This is like a Matt Ryan situation in the Falcons. The Falcons owe Matt Ryan $100 million over the next couple of years. There's no way Matt Ryan's going to renegotiate that. Jared Goff can't renegotiate that because he lives in L.A., so he's going to need all that money that he can possibly get. I mean, you guys are kind of stuck with him, and you just got to hope that McVay and him can create some magic that they created a couple of years ago without Gurley in the backfield, without the same offensive line you had that was very dominant because you couldn't pay them because you paid everybody else and they left. I mean, the defense. Aaron Donald flipped that game on its head yesterday. Okay, he got a couple pressures, stripped, brought a fumble back, defensive score, and I was like, damn, here we go. Rams going to win this game. Robbie Gould, who got ran out of Chicago, says, nah. I'm still alive.
Rams, too, they gave up a bunch of their picks to get Ramsey, right?
Yeah, so
a bunch of firsts.
I don't know if you move on from Goff, who are you going to get? Because you're still going to pay Goff. You know who would be good in that system?
Who? Matthew Stafford.
He would be Tom Brady would be very good. Ooh. That feels like a system, right, where you can kind of not have – because if you think about Bruce Arians' offense, and I hadn't really thought about this until last night, Andrew Luck extended plays, Roethlisberger extended plays. Carson didn't do much of extending a plays, but it feels like that offense really does well when you can extend the plays because you got a lot of long, drawn-out routes. Tom doesn't do much of that, huh?
No.
Oh, my God, what's going to happen in the Buccaneers? Are they going to tear the place down after this? Oh, yeah! Howard 2's on the other side. We'll take some phone calls. Go take a shit. You got 6 minutes. Why is football the greatest sport on earth? And do you think football is the greatest sport on earth? And why do you like football?
That's a really deep question there, Pat.
I know. I think I can get a good answer out of you, though. Like, I think you'd be able to talk about it in a way that I think a lot of people haven't because you've been at the pinnacle of it for so damn long and inside of it. And your brain is a pretty fantastic one. We've learned here over the last few weeks, obviously. Last few weeks, that's it. That's all the time we've learned that.
I think it's the greatest sport in the world for one main reason. It is a true team sport where it is damn near impossible for one person to dominate an entire game. If you look at other team sports, basketball with 5 guys on the court, I think you've seen multiple players over the years. Maybe one player, maybe 1 or 2 players on a squad be able to dominate and win championships. Baseball, you can have a dominant pitcher and win championships. Soccer, you can have a dominant forward and or goalie. That seems to be a little more of a team sport, but you don't have 11 players engaged at the same time on every play. It is truly a sport reliant on every player on the field to do their job in order to be successful. And I think that's why at times, you know, certain star players can get maybe too much credit and maybe too much blame on the flip side, because it does take so many players at the same time in 3 phases to win football games. And I think that's the beauty and the draw of our sport, is that something new happens all the time because you are literally dealing with 11 humans on the field at one time who all have lives outside of football, and there's distractions, there's a reliance on coaching, there's a reliance on preparation, there's a reliance on diet and performance. I just think there's so many facets to it that you see something new every single week, and I think that's the beauty in our game. When it comes to the love that I have for it, it's rooted, and I think like any player who's played for a long time, the love is not just about our sport, it's about competition. And I think there's nothing in the world for me that fills that need and that hole I have like competition. I think if players who play for a long time at a high level, you have that need to be satiated competitively, and it's a love of going out there and going against guys and being in an environment where you know that nothing is guaranteed. And that's why at times I've taken umbrage to people saying that it's easy, because it's not easy. It's never easy. And I think that's the beauty in our game, is that you see things new every single week. It's never easy. And your only thing you're guaranteed is the ability to compete. I love that aspect of it. I love competing. I love going out there and harnessing the fear of failure, where I think so many people who maybe don't love football as much, the root of that is a deep fear of failure, that you might go out there and your best might not be good enough, and that's not okay with you.
There's a grown man with face paint on. So you're Big Nut.
I am, and you're Little Nut.
Well, I've had a few of those in my life. Hey, I'll tell you what, Big Nut. I hope to find you one day on my wedding night. Big Nut!
Little Nut!
You did a great job, too. The lines are straight. No DUI problem there. You're really doing a great job here, sir. Hey, Big Nut, I love everything you're about, bud.
Because we are going to win the game.
He just spit in my mouth while saying that.
The most likely team to make the college football playoff is the team that is in Columbus.
He said khakis are way too close to that team from up north. If you don't put black pants on right now, you're going to get booed out of Columbus. Yeah. So I went with the black. Makes me look thin. And whenever I say 2 letters, the place goes crazy. OH! Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie George. That offense, though, led by Justin Fields. He has 41 touchdowns accounted for, only 1 turnover. I don't know how he isn't the Heisman favorite right now.
Well, he certainly has a chance to make a stick at that today, certainly next week.
We're supposed to be at Penn State, and Mike McQuarrie told me I wasn't Penn State material. Okay, Herbie was your quarterback. He was a senior. You were a freshman. What was he like as a teammate?
Oh, he was great, man. Big shoulder pads. Kurt could run for days back in the day.
We have a guy that can break every single bone in my body. Stipe, how you doing, boss man? They're down 6-1. She wants to flex on the gram. He says, lady, we are getting slaughtered by the Pittsburgh Penguins. No.
Do I do it too? I thought I need to do this.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Overreaction Monday, November 30th, 2020. Hour 2 of the SiriusXM Channel 82 Mad Dog Sports Radio Show begins right now. Shout out to Twine for that beat drop. Overreaction Monday has been something we've enjoyed in this studio for a while now, but it was something I wanted to kind of get out to the masses. So I sent out a tweet. Normally people can see them, or I guess the past couple of days Twitter has decided to shadow ban me for whatever reason. Shout out to Twitter just deciding, that my tweets shouldn't be seen by people anymore. You do what you got to do. You know what I mean? You do what you got to do, Twitter. I really appreciate it.
It's awful interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not political, dude. I think I heard they do that with political people, right? I've heard that happen.
Of course.
I feel like I've done a lot of work on Twitter. I feel like I've driven a lot of action on their app for a long time. I've been around a long, long time. I was even buying into their bullshit fleet.
Yes, you were.
Right? Yeah. I was trying my best to sell some shitty ass fucking garbage product that they put out there in Fleet. They rolled it out there as if it was supposed to be a good thing. I was trying to help them out because of how much I like that platform. Little did I know, a couple days later, they would start just eliminating my tweets from the algorithm so people couldn't even see me. It's like, hey, Twitter, what the fuck? I feel like we've done a lot together. Zito couldn't even see my goddamn tweets.
Couldn't even see it. I was so mad.
I told Foxy that 30% off every Detroit shirt that we have in the store. Go ahead and clearance sale. Everything must go. This is not the year. Store.patmcafeeshow.com. He didn't even see the tweet. It didn't even show up. These guys work for me.
What's the deal, Jack? What are you doing, pal?
Anyways, this morning I put out a tweet. Allegedly, some people saw it because we got a lot of great responses, and we can't thank you enough. We have a segment on this show that we like to run called #Pat. I don't overreact, but...
Pat, I don't want to overreact, but...
Oh, new graphic there.
Wow.
Attaboy, Jay. Attaboy, Jason McAfee. Attaboy, Bub. Proud of you, man. Okay, let's get to the Twitter world's reactions. At Ulrichs90. #Pat, I don't overreact, but the entire Chicago Bears defense might have had the gout. Something might have happened.
Can it spread?
I do believe gout is earned, not spread, but I do believe the Bears defense last night saw what Aaron Rodgers was doing, and there was nothing they could do. They also knew that on the other side of the ball was a guy playing quarterback who will throw a punt to the defense a couple times if he has to. Mitchell Trubisky, there was a lot of conversation about him looking brand new and being a different quarterback and everything like that. I'm not sure that's the case. That Bears team, I mean, it's going to go down as a conversation piece for who wasted a great defense the longest. And I believe the Bears team will be that. Whenever they ran off, like the amount of touchdown passes thrown by all the quarterbacks, And like the most for the Bears was like 16 or something like that against the Packers in the Bears-Packers rivalry. It was like Jay Cutler threw 15 or something like that. Somebody threw 16. I forget who it was. And then you go to the Packers quarterbacks. And Aaron just threw his 50th touchdown against them. And then Brett Favre had 53 touchdowns against them. That has just been a rivalry, okay, that has just been one-sided whenever it comes to offensive production. And if you're a Bears fan, at what point do you get fed up with it? You know, like I understand you guys are all in on the Bears and you're a loyal fan base and an active fan base and everything like that. But at what point do you just go, oh, come the fuck on? Like Chuck Pagano in that defense, do you know how many speeches that Chuck has to give to that defense to stay motivated and keep going, keep going. Like, hey, we just got to listen. We got to keep going. They'll catch up at some point. And then that offense rolls on the field, and that old defense just looking at the Jumbotron, and they're like, these guys fucking stink. These guys are worse than that Broncos guy. It was. At what point do the Bears fans just give up? Never?
Well, so like yesterday, Tirico said the Bears defense gave up, right, during the broadcast?
Well, I think it kind of felt like it happened last year, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Last year it happened around this time, maybe a week earlier last year.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you get to play in the NFL.
Hell yeah.
Okay?
Hell yeah.
Privilege.
You don't have to play. It is a privilege. It's not a right.
No.
You don't have to play in the NFL. So if you're going to go out there, every single snap better look like it's your last snap. I understand that. You're paid a king's ransom to play kid's game, okay?
Hell
Listen, Chuck has literally said that to that defense, I assume, because he said that to us plenty of times. But at a certain point, humans start getting involved. And whenever your brain sees how terrible the offense is, at some point you're just going to be like, all right, I'm not going to do the extra rep that I normally would. I'm not going to stick around and watch 2 to 3 more hours of film. I'm going to go hang out with my family instead. There's like little things that happen whenever you realize that maybe one part of your team is not going to be able to carry. And I believe we've hit that point with the Bears defense, just like we hit it last year. And at what point does the Bears organization say, hey, defense, we're going to try to get you something that can be worth a single fuck on the offensive side?
So what do you got to do? Just clean house? Is that the next step?
Yeah, I don't know. They've done it before, right? They've done it numerous times.
I don't think it
I mean,
worked.
Fox was there, right? John Fox was there. He cleaned
Mark
house.
Trestman.
Trestman cleaned house. I mean, everybody's cleaned house whenever they go in there.
Trestman actually had a good offense, though, right?
Did he?
Well, he was an offensive guru,
I
but
don't
the
think he had a
offense
good
still
offense.
stunk.
Yeah.
No, they had a good offense. Brandon Marshall. They had what's his name?
Cutler?
Cutler, and then the other wide receiver from he's in the Eagles right now. I can't remember his name right now.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey, yeah. That was a great offense. Zach
Great
Miller was on it?
offense? I just saw the stats.
They just had a horrible defense.
I just saw the
time.
stats of the amount of touchdowns thrown. I don't think they had a great offense ever. 16. The entire 16 was the most, and it wasn't. Cutler had 15 or something like that.
Grossman?
And I think he played in, 16, probably 16 games he probably played him?
Cutler was habitually terrible against the Packers. Habitually. Threw a lot of pick sixes. But how mentally taxing would it be if you go in every week and it's like, okay, we have to hold this team to 13 points, otherwise we have no chance of winning.
The Broncos were able to do that whenever old Tim Tebow was playing for the Broncos, right? And that's not Tim. That's just the offense they decided to run seemed to be ineffective. But Tim wasn't turning the ball over and wasn't setting the other team up. But I think you have to look at it from the human side. At some point, the Bears defense is going to say, we're done with it. And we talked about this earlier, like division play is the biggest thing. You win a division, you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. The Packers have been the king of the division for a long time, and it doesn't seem like there's any chance of slowing them down from Chicago, which is sad because Chicago, obviously, third largest city in America. Die-hard fan base will never be second, but it's just that team stinks to watch. I mean, it is no fun to watch the Bears on television.
Well, for Mitch Trubisky too. I mean, he's playing for his career. Like, is there any team out there right now who's looking at the Bears and Mitch Trubisky like, okay, let's go get that guy next year to even be a backup? Like, what's the point for
I
him?
had this thought late last night while watching that game. It's like, are we watching a bust right now?
Oh no,
absolutely. His legacy is going to be he was selected before Mahomes and Watson.
Yeah. Are we watching a buster? Like the complete, because he was supposed to come back. He got benched, which could have motivated him, made him better or whatever. They said they saw a different one. And then the Packers team has not been the most stingy defense. Okay? They have not been the most stingy defense. Not a bad defense to play against, actually, if you're Mitchell Trubisky coming back after Nick Foles has looked pretty inept as an offensive quarterback or as an offensive head guy. You get it. Anyways. Feels like that would have been the perfect game if you're Trubisky. And while watching, I'm like, are we watching a bust right now? Is this guy? I don't like that bust term.
Are we putting the Ryan Leaf category already?
That's what I'm saying. Like, then did he get a fair shake, right? Then whenever you talk about all these, when you talk about bust, you always have to talk about the situation because it's not just the person. You're like, did this person get a fair shake? Did this person do this? And it's like Trubisky, they were in the playoffs, very deep in the playoffs, had a chance of going a run there. If it wasn't for a blocked field goal that hit a couple uprights or whatever, and ever since then, something has just completely fallen apart. Is Matt Nagy going to own it that he created the bust here, or is Mitchell Trubisky going to have to go somewhere else and kind of, maybe get reborn and re-spark or whatever? But that team just looks bad. I would assume they're going to have to clean house over there.
Yeah, have to.
I would say, what's their situation look like salary cap wise and picks wise next year? Because maybe that'll be quite an appealing job for a lot of people. Because you got to remember, Chicago Bears fans, we've said this a couple times, massive fan base, active fan base, loyal fan base. You're in the third largest city in America, so you're going to be on primetime TV a lot. If you have success there, you're going to be a fucking hero because of how things have been there for a while. But will you be able to beat the Packers? I mean, maybe if they force Aaron Rodgers out of town, maybe. We don't know what's going on over there. But that's something. What's the setup like over there?
So they have the 12th most cap space next year.
Okay, not too shabby.
They do have all of their picks except for their fourth, which they traded. So, I mean, that's not a terrible situation there. And then in 2022, they have all of their picks. So
they've won 5 games, right? They started out the season 5-1, and all anybody was saying is this is the worst 5-1 team of all time. And Bears fans were like, you start putting respect on us being 5-1. And I said the coaches are probably walking around that building and go, the world's falling down. We got 5 wins. We're 5-1 right now. It's probably now they are not. Now it is a much different story. Now the masses were right in saying this is the worst 5-1 team of all time, and now they're kind of potentially going to rattle off just straight L's all the way down the board. Five wins will probably get you 5 to 6. Probably pick 5 to 8 or something like that. The one win Jaguars, they're trying their best to keep up with the Jets, right? The Jets and the Jags seem to be going at it. There's a 3-win team. There's a couple 3-win teams, I think. A couple 4-win teams in the NFC West. The 5-win or NFC East. The 5-win Bears will probably fall 6 to 8 or something like that.
If they don't win another game, they're currently sitting 14th in the draft order.
What?
Yeah, it goes Jets, Jacksonville, Cincy, Dallas, Chargers, Carolina, Philadelphia, Washington,
the whole NFC East,
Detroit.
I completely forgot.
Atlanta, Houston, but that's Miami's pick. Denver.
All right, so I'm gonna listen. This is called predicting. I think they're gonna end up like 6th to 7th pick. All right, NFC East, somebody's gonna have to win some games, right? So they're gonna be out of there. Okay, so unless they just tie out, which could happen, could happen in the NFC East, but they're gonna get out of there. They'll move up like 6 to 8 or whatever. You can bundle now your other picks that you have because you have every other pick to move up anymore. And with Mac Jones emerging as a stud, as a lot of people are saying, I mean, there's 3 legit quarterbacks, especially after watching what Herbert, Tua, and Joey Burrow have done here this year. I think there's a couple young quarterbacks you could potentially go get. But also, are we trusting the Bears to make the right decision and pick the right one?
Well,
Probably
if it makes
not.
the Bears are ready. Like a lot of the fans want, I've been hearing about Zach Wilson from BYU is the one that, and it's Mitch Trubisky 2.0.
No, you don't know that.
I do. I've saw a couple games already. It's the same thing.
Did you watch Mitchell Trubisky's college tape?
Oh yeah, I'm a UNC alum. I watched some of them, and yeah.
What did you do? You took an online class?
I took an online class, yes, and I am now a UNC alum.
That's awesome. What were you going to say?
If they really are going to do a rebuild, there's already some like murmurs going around that Khalil Mack wants out. Do you think they would just get rid of him as well and try to get a king's ransom for him in return?
Khalil Mack still got it. I think we all know he's got, but that would be a help to the salary cap if they were to trade him. You could probably get a higher pick for there.
Yeah, first.
But then what are you going to do? You have to rebuild the defense now too.
The Raiders did all right trading him and Amari Cooper now looking back.
Well, except for yesterday. I mean, maybe Khalil Mack tackles Ryan at least one time yesterday. Let's go to Adam in South Dakota. What's going on, Adam? Is this Vinatieri?
Hey, no, it's not Vinatieri, but on the wrong side of the state there, buddy.
Oh, of course. That's on me. Sorry, what do you want to talk about, brother?
Well, I just want to say the NFC North, except for the Packers, stink.
Yeah, it's kind of been the story for the last couple of years, it feels like. Now, the Vikings, you have no idea what the Vikings. You have no clue what the Vikings, honestly. Last year, the Vikings got hot at the end of the season, won a playoff game against the Saints, then they inevitably lost to the 49ers or whatever. But the Vikings could do that same thing, sneak into the playoff, which, by the way, I think we have a graphic for. Shout out to Zito. The NFC playoff picture is not like out of the question for the Vikings. They're currently 5-6, but if they win 9 games, 10 games somehow, maybe, if they can continue to rattle these off, they're in the wild card, and that team has a lot of weapons on the offense. Justin Jefferson has been incredible. Adam Thielen, who was out yesterday, he's awesome. Obviously, Kyle Rudolph. Dalvin Cook got hurt yesterday. Hopefully, he's okay. But that team is a team you could kind of look at. Other than that, when it comes to the Bears and Lions, you're looking at a full reboot. So who knows how many years it's going to take for them to get going.
And Rams and Cardinals, both 7-4, they still play each other twice. So, I mean, they're one of them's going to drop.
And one of them will get a win. I think that they'll split that, by the way, because that's a team that shows up sometimes and doesn't show up other times. It's a very interesting come see, come saw the way those two teams play. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Christopher in L.A. What's going on, Christopher?
Yo, what's up, Pat?
Hey, just hanging out, man. What do you got going on?
I just want to talk about how Sean McVay just sucks compared to Kyle Shanahan and how Deebo Samuel owns Aaron Donald.
Interesting tie in there, but why do you think that is the case there? Obviously, the Shanahan-McVay thing, we can see that because Shanahan has now...
Coaches circles around him.
Yeah, he's a very good coach. I think the world understands that Kyle Shanahan is a very good coach. McVay, though, remember, McVay got like 45 people hired because of how good he was, so maybe...
Yeah, he's a great coach, but... just shrivels up against Shanahan all the time.
Well, and the Patriots, he did. It seems like any defense that kind of gets pressure on him a little bit on Goff is problematic. Is that Goff or is that Sean McVay's offense? TBD if there's ever another quarterback in there. Let's talk about Deebo with Aaron Donald, though. What did that mean? Because Aaron Donald flipped that game on its head.
Aaron Donald said he didn't know who Deebo was after the first time we beat him. So I would just assume he definitely knows who he is now.
Got it. Well, let's just think. Aaron Donald's so dialed in that he doesn't know who a wide receiver is because he's dealing with the offensive line. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, he moved out to defensive end yesterday. And I think so I think what Aaron Donald does, and I watched this whenever they were playing Tampa Bay this year, he'll look, I think, from film and say who he thinks he has a good matchup against. So when he didn't line up automatically over our guy AQ, I was like, all right, massive compliment to AQ from Aaron Donald there because AQ was in Arizona. They had played numerous times, that whole thing. He lined up over a guard. And then a couple plays later, Aaron lined up over the other guard. I'm like, okay, hey, this is a big compliment. This is a big compliment to AQ. Now, granted, he ended up over AQ for a couple plays, but then he moved right back out there. Yesterday, I feel like he was working, and then he moved out to the tackle. And when he moved out to that tackle, it was just like basically good luck, game over, which Aaron Donald flipped that game on its head. Thought the Rams were going to win that game with how much momentum they had going and everything like that. But to that guy's credit, Kyle Shanahan is an incredible coach, gets the win. They sweep the Rams. Here we go. The Niners, who don't have a home now, don't have a home. You pay the highest taxes on earth over there, and you can't practice at our facility. Get the fuck out of here. Go to Arizona. That's what's happening for the next couple of weeks for the Niners or whatever. Santa Clara County officials say that no pro or college sports teams are able to have games or practices in the county that include direct contact for the next 3 weeks. That, of course, includes 49ers, who have 2 home games December 7th and the 13th scheduled in that window. They're going to go play in Arizona. Maybe it's like a team spring break or whatever, like a bowl game they're going out there. That's a wild situation, though. Can't believe the NFL didn't figure that out, by the way. Just like in Pennsylvania, how teams are supposed to wear a mask for like an hour and a half, and then the NFL gave a call, and Tom Wolf was like, well, you paid me. Obviously, we can do this whole thing. And that whole thing changed. The Santa Clara thing not happening is wild. Here's a statement from the San Francisco 49ers, which, by the way, are the Santa Clara 49ers. San Francisco 49ers have come to an agreement with the National Football League and Arizona Cardinals, which allows the 49ers to host their weeks 13 and 14 home games against the Buffalo Bills and Washington football team at State Farm Stadium in Arizona, which used to be University of Phoenix Stadium. The Cardinals organization, State Farm Stadium, and league officials have been supportive and accommodating as we work through many logistical issues involved in relocating NFL games. Information regarding the 49ers' future practice arrangements will be shared at the appropriate time. Awesome.
The
NFL, baby. This is the top of it.
That's the shield.
Yeah, exactly. It's bro, that's fucking wild. It's 13 and 14. You just got to pick up and move, by the way. Shout out to the Cardinals for doing that. It's insane. Hey, As long as everybody's safe, though. That's all we're worried about.
2020
As long as
season.
everybody's
That's
safe.
exactly right.
Has any NFL players died from this?
I didn't see anyone break that news yet.
Okay. Keep us a heads up. Obviously, we're T's and P's for everybody that gets it. The 50 Ravens players that have it, the couple Steelers players that have it. Everybody, we hope everybody survives. We hope everybody's okay or whatever. Weeks 13 and 14 in Arizona. Shout out to Arizona for making that happen for them. I guess they'll be staying in hotels. A lot of hotels, obviously, in the Phoenix area. Where are they going to practice at?
Man.
They'll probably practice at a university over there.
Probably.
In the university, is it set up for the protocols? Is it set up with the plexiglass in the locker rooms that they're going to have? Or they can practice at the stadium, I guess? Where do the Cardinals practice? Oh,
The University of Phoenix follows all protocols. I do believe they have a pretty
That
Farm.
is not the name anymore.
State Farm Stadium.
What,
How
no,
dare
no,
you.
no, I'm
Respect.
talking about the college stadium inside of Arizona where the
University of Phoenix plays.
You're talking about UOP.
Yeah, I'm talking about UOP. I'm
have
not
a beautiful
talking about
stadium.
the stadium.
That is a beautiful stadium.
Of course, UOP.
Phoenix EDU.
Hey, Larry Fitzgerald got a degree from UOP.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why the professional stadium couldn't be called that anymore because they got their own.
Hey, by the way, you know how I said Larry Fitzgerald being out of this game doesn't affect the Cardinals much, you know what I mean? Because of where he's at. He probably scores on that right before the half.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably Larry Fitzgerald touchdown.
Might have to.
Where that guy goes in. So what I said was wrong. I will say I was wrong. One more phone call before we get to a break. Then we got Darius Butler on the side. Do you want to go to Jersey, North Carolina, Cali, New York, Rhode Island, or Chicago?
Chicago.
Let's go to Dylan in Chicago. What's going on, dude?
How you doing, Pat?
Hey, not too bad there, pal. How are you?
Hey, you know what? I came into work today.
Yep.
And I'm sitting in traffic.
Here it is.
And
Traffic. I thought Chicago was locked down.
I'm the stooge.
It's always traffic there.
Why are you the stooge, Dylan?
I got my Bears hat. I got my official Bears jersey. I got the little license plate holder. I got the sticker on the back of my car.
Dylan, you spent a lot on this team. You're invested.
I've been invested. You know what? I've seen 2 playoff wins in my life.
Whole life. That's more than the Lions.
Yep. Doesn't matter. You get nowhere. You get nowhere.
Yep.
You do nothing. There are 5 names that are to blame for this. Starts at the top. That McAfee stooge, 98. All right, I'm waiting for her to bend over.
Oh, no.
Dylan.
Don't do that to her. Don't do that to her.
Good God.
Ted Phillips, since 84, 3 playoff wins. We had a great win in the Super Bowl against the Pats. Fuck you, Connor. Just kidding.
Oh!
I'll take that one,
Love you, Connor. It's okay.
It's not Connor's fault.
And we did nothing after that. We got to the Super Bowl in 2006-07 on accident.
Yeah. Agreed. You guys lost to us in one of them. I wasn't there, but that is tough.
Ted Phillips has done nothing.
Who
Ryan
else?
Pace
Ryan
brings nothing but pain.
There it is, yeah, the Pace train.
Ryan Payne.
Yeah, the Pain train.
Matt Nagy can't score after halftime.
That's tough. That's halftime.
Defenses make decent adjustments. He makes almost none.
Oh, Dylan.
Oh, no.
Why do you have the hat on? Why do you got the license plate holder? Why are you sitting in traffic saying, hey, go Bears, go? Why are you out there saying that then, Dylan?
Because I'm a Chicago guy.
Yeah.
I'm working on the mill and in the drill press. What do you want me to do?
Dylan, I'm sorry, Dylan. That's a tough go. See, Zito, you always just buy into this goddamn Bears team. Hey, whoever's quarterback's quarterback, I believe in it. Whoever's coach, I believe. Dylan's like, not anymore.
Fuck him.
Fuck him. I don't even know who that Ted guy is. Is that the president?
Yeah, the president.
Teddy.
3 playoff wins? Is that what he said? 2.
He said.
2 playoff wins his entire life. Is it time to start putting the Chicago Bears in the Detroit Lions conversation?
Oh, no.
The Cincinnati Bengals conversation? Is it time to start putting them in that conversation? I didn't know it was that bad.
No, don't put us in the same table.
How does that guy still have a job up there? If you're the president of a business and your business constantly fails, the NFL is the only business that expects to make money every single year, and if they're not going to make money, they change everything so that they always make money, and everybody's like, yeah, you should do that. It's also a business where you can be a multi-billion-dollar operation, okay, and you can fail, and you're literally, now granted, it's tough because your work is going to get projected to the world every single week. You're the only business where it can say, hey, our business is taking on your business, and there's records of how your business is done against other businesses. You can be the president for how long? How long has that guy been the president of the Chicago Bears?
All I know, there's only been 4 presidents, and he's one of 4.
And he's won
84, he said. So.
84?
Yeah,
long time. 36. 7 years, maybe 36 years at this point?
Yeah.
And you stink. At what point is it like, yo, we probably need somebody else? Not saying Ted Thomas is a bad businessman. Not saying he's a bad guy or whatever. So whatever his name is. At what point are you going to say, hey, this guy, you stink. We need new leadership. Probably never, huh? That's just Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are completely okay with being terrible. Wow, have the Chicago Bears team and their fans and their organization just expected and understood that we're going to be bad? Or are they going to finally step up for their fans and say, hey, let's try to win something here?
Let's clean house. Let's clean house.
Ted, who's going to fire?
George
Hallis?
No, McAfee.
That's who I thought you were talking about too.
Bring him back a lot.
Do you think there was ever a thought from the Bears like, hey, look, we'll wait out Favre, and then after Favre, we'll really get after it. And now that it's Rodgers, they're saying, all right, we'll wait for Jordan Love to get in, and then we'll make our move and take over the division.
Yeah, which, by the way, not a bad business plan, but it's been 20-some years now, 30-some years at this point. That's going to be tough.
In hindsight, them winning the division a couple years ago when Rodgers got hurt, that may have been the kiss of death. Kind of just prolonged everything for a couple years. They could have cut bait after that.
Bro, they stink to watch on TV, bro. It's a tough watch. It is a tough watch.
I mean, last night was a joy, but, typically, they stink.
They look like that Keegan kid or whatever looked like a high school football player out there throwing the ball around, which I think should raise the respect level of what we have for all NFL quarterbacks. Yeah. It's not easy, okay? That kid would go into your pickup game, by the way, and beat all of you at every position, no questions asked, and he had one completion in the NFL, and it was a screen pass that was almost incomplete. So I think we should raise the respect on what we get to watch. But watching it, you're like, oh, this looks like a high school football game here. This looks like bad football. The Bears every week, it's like, this is bad football. And you guys just have to sit there and take it with your hats, your license plate, because the fan base is so goddamn loyal. The Browns fans, they were like, what about us? Dog Pound Duck, 8-3 this year.
How about it?
8-3 this year.
Incredible.
Driver's seat.
Game to save their lives, but 8-3.
Can't cover. I also got forced into taking that bet. Shout out Gumpy. Forcing me to take that bet. Well, I sent a text saying that one particular person in the text of Hammer Don, which is our gambling podcast, was getting lines at different numbers than what they actually were. Okay, sure. Michael Lombardi sends a text like 5:15 a.m. on Sunday with all these picks that he has with these lines that are just not coming from reality. But the lines I'm looking at 8:30, I'm like, how are you getting this spread at this whenever it's actually this or whatever? And I was listing off all the spreads that he said that and what they actually were. And Gumpy was just taking my text messages of explaining the difference in the spread, and he was like, oh, that's Pat's pick. That's Pat's pick. That's Pat's pick. That's Pat's pick.
If you saw his text, you would understand what I went through yesterday.
Oh, no.
It did look bad because I called out one particular line, and then Lombardi answered immediately afterward while I was sending the next one. So it was supposed to be a series of lines, but Lombardi's text intercepted it.
Stacked.
So then as soon as the Browns at 7 or whatever, and then I said I'd also like the Saints at the bottom of that. So you could see how Gumpy fucked it up, but he also ruined my record for Hammer Don. So Gumpy, I understand the situation you're in, but let me tell you about the situation I'm in, which never happens, right? The situation everybody else is in, we always get to talk about, never the situation I'm in. That seems to be a common trend in my life at this point. But let me tell you about the situation that you put me into, Gumpy, okay? Fucking losing weekend. Because of you, Gumpy.
Technically, it wasn't his fault. If Baker can hit open receiver anytime, at any point.
Whoa.
Come on, whoa.
We got Jarvis Landry joining us today. Okay, he had a massive, and you hear the song it's on, okay?
Jarvis played great.
It was his birthday 2 days ago. Happy birthday to Jarvis.
Also, that phantom unnecessary roughness on the...
Unbelievable. Olivier Vernon was on the sideline celebrating what had happened. They go, now you got to go back out there. What, dude? There were some calls yesterday. They go, these refs have lost it. We got to get to a break. Darius Butler joins us on the other side, host of the Man to Man podcast, 9-year NFL vet. We'll talk about him. We'll talk to him about what happened this weekend, and also he'll give us some picks for tonight's Monday Night Football game and tomorrow's Ravens-Steelers match. That's potentially possibly happening. It's the Pat McAfee Show, 30 minutes an hour, 2 on this Overreaction Monday, November 30th.
He's saying don't go off the top, it's too shallow.
All you're going to hear this stadium do is they put the big paw up, they start shaking it, they go, whoa. Hey, what things are going, look, they said, Yeah, he loves the defensive side of the ball. He said yesterday to me that this is a blue-collar team. They win it on special teams. They have 5 block kicks this season. The defensive side of the ball, Lynch leads the Big 12 in sacks. But also on the offensive side, Denzel Mims is an absolute animal. He is a weapon. Charlie Brewer, the quarterback from Lake Travis. His dad was a quarterback in Texas. Yeah. His grandpa was a quarterback in Texas. And the people here in Waco just so happen to get a chance to see Charlie Brewer on a daily basis. Hey. Yeah, Boomer here is going to mean a little bit different than what it means on the internet currently. And hopefully here in Baylor, they hope they're not hearing a lot of Boomer sooner. Everybody wants to be a punter, including quarterbacks. If I was a quarterback, I'd want to be a punter as well. 0 yards on that punt. That's an embarrassing situation. The Dak dance that gets on national television has led to a lot of losses, but you got to respect the hips being able to. What sign am I going to make for college game day? Well, I want to make something creative. I want to make something fun. No, to hell with it. I don't like OU. It's so thick. Look how thick that thing is. That's years and years of patience. You're headed right for the boat. Right now? Okay, let's do it. We are out here on the Brazos River, which you can take a boat to the game. One of the only stadiums in the country that you can do that. It's beautiful out here. A lot of people would say, this is the last time I'm going to be on game day. The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do, I ended up in a jail cell. Let's go! A lot higher than I thought.
You look like Ric Flair. That was a sellout, by the way. That was beautiful.
Do we have any other shirts? Yeah, hold on.
You need to go get changed before you get sick.
Great work, Russia. I'm actually not that cold. Hey, I went for it. My chest hurts. It was like 5 feet. I was standing there. That's full commitment, by the way.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Welcome back to the show. It's been a pretty eventful 24 hours here. The internet is now calling me a politically correct woke guy. Huh.
For what? Is that right?
Because I didn't say that Sarah Fuller had no right to play in that football game or whatever. I feel like I gave a well thought out take on the entire situation.
You did.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of not how the internet goes.
No, it definitely isn't.
Fuck them. Fuck them all. Yeah. Fuck everybody, to be honest with you. Now that if we're just going to have that conversation.
So I'm all down.
I'm very much. I mean, I got a cage match coming up on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. All right. So you probably have to get into an interesting mindset whenever you're going into one of those. I'm there. I'm in there. I want to let everybody know that I am in that mindset.
Fight week, baby.
It's fight week. Yeah, I'm all the way in there. Now it's time to learn about the football from a man who is incredibly knowledgeable whenever it comes to a lot of things in the game. 9-year NFL vet, played both corner and safety, drafted by the Patriots, played for the Panthers and for the Colts for a long time, hosted a man-to-man podcast and everything DB. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler. What's the shirt say? What's the hoodie say?
Assets over liabilities.
Couple weeks ago, you had an entire stock market going off in the background there.
I told you about Bitcoin. I didn't tell you. It's close to some all-time highs. The tech is still going nuts. Tesla's doing some things, man. I'm saying I didn't tell you.
Mm-hmm. Listen, Bitcoin. I had a chance. Don't act like you. Don't act like you told me about Bitcoin. Okay, I would like to let you know. All right, that when Bitcoin started, somebody offered me one, and I said I don't believe it. It's fake money. Get the fuck out of here. I'd rather spend my money on a professional wrestling ring or on maybe 100 shots in different random cities and places. I don't need your little fake. I don't need a full coin. I don't need a Bitcoin. I don't need any of your goddamn thing. And then 4 years later, old buddy is sending me pictures of things that he's buying with the selling of his Bitcoin. And that was a mistake, okay? The argon nuts, all right, in Morocco, that was another thing. I got drunk and lost the contact. The plug's number probably could be McAfee's magic nuts, or it could be in everything, you know what I mean? The shampoo, the face, everything that argon, oil, Moroccan oil is in, argon nuts are in. That could have been me, okay? So I've missed out on a lot. Your next one that you give out, though, I'm gonna ride with. I've never dabbled in that. I think it's all fake because it's
the future, man.
Wow, he's taking the cocaine out and doing a thing. And he's talking about how it's all just on a carnival. Or it's on a carnival.
Fugazi.
You just got to keep him in there. It's a fugazi. It's a fake. But if you get a good feeling, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna buy alongside you, pal.
All right, say less.
What football team are you selling immediately that's stinking or crashing as fast as possible?
Oh man, the Bears are definitely.
They stink.
Come on.
Hey, that defense quit. They said. Do you believe it?
Man, I mean, it looked bad, man. It looked bad all the way around. It was nothing good to find in there. Mitch got thrown back in the mix. He looked terrible as we expected. That was bad, man. To start off 5-1, we kind of all knew they shouldn't have been 5-1 out of the gate, but to have 5 straight losses. I mean, Nagy, he got to be on that hot seat. There's a lot of open slots out there in this offseason, so he's probably be next in line.
Let's talk about the Bears axing that's going to happen. So I guess there's a guy named Ted Thomas. Ted Timothy. What's his name?
Ted Phillips.
Ted Phillips is the president of the Bears since 1984. They've seen only a couple. I don't know if it's 84. We don't know the accurate number, but whatever. This guy named Dylan called in from Chicago. He's only seen 2 playoff wins in his life, I guess. So this takes out the Super Bowl run in 06. So he must be pretty young, this guy. But whatever the case is, the Bears have been a disaster for a while now. And it feels like if you're a Bears fan, you have to get to the point where you're just fed up with the operation. But where does the firing start? Is it Nagy? He's gone. Okay, well, what about Pace? What has Pace done? He got Khalil Mack there. That's big. Yeah. Right? He got Khalil Mack there, made a play for that. But what else has he done? And if it's both of them, do you also think about going higher? Is it an entire culture thing that you need to change in your building and go with, that Ted Phillips guy all the way down? Like, where does it go, you think, in the cleaning of house?
I mean, you got to start at the top with Pace, man. Everybody talks about the Mitch pick, and he'll never live that one down. Obviously, we all saw what Pat Mahomes did yesterday. We see who D. Watson is, so he'll never live that down. And for a franchise that's been so, historically great, but obviously a long, long time since they've been there, you got to change it. You got to get back to those winning ways. And when you walk in that building, George Halas, like you see the history, you see all the things in the building. So you got to get back to wins, man. But they've never, since McMahon or whatever that dude name, like who's been the good quarterback?
Jim McMahon.
They had Rex. He was decent. But when y'all beat the Patriots, that was pretty much. Oh, you weren't there yet. But when they beat the Patriots, that was pretty much the Super Bowl for them. So. Yeah, they got to fix that. It starts at their quarterback position, but you got to start. You got to clear house, man. Got to start.
What was that? What was that white guy's name? He wore the headband.
Yeah, Jim
I knew
McMahon.
he had the headband. Cool cat, but I don't know.
Okay. He was a cool cat.
He didn't wear shoes or socks or something like that. Always wore sunglasses. He was legend of a man, and him and the commissioner had real beef, and that's why what was the guy's name? That's why he wore it on the headband. Rozelle?
Yeah.
Rozelle was the commissioner of the league. I guess he was wearing a headband that has a sponsor from somebody, and he was making money. And the NFL told him you can't do that. So he wrote the name of the commissioner's name right across the top.
He also
he was
nice troll job.
He was awesome. Yeah, I bet he would have killed the internet if he. Yeah, so I assume Adidas was paying him or whatever, and he said you can't have that. That was probably,
two-time Super Bowl champ. Oh yeah, I got.
He wore his Bears jersey.
What's that?
He wore his Bears jersey when the Packers went to the White House because he was playing for the Packers at the time when they won the. It was one of the craziest things about that.
Yeah, see, those were the days we're talking about. Though, listen to the glory days speak there from a Bears fan and Zito. You remember Jim McDay did this? He did that is a long time ago.
Those are highlights. Those are highlights, man.
And he wasn't even alive. He wasn't even alive when this was happening. So you're talking about the third largest city in America.
Second sometimes.
Never. The second, ever. Never, ever, ever the second. Will never be. Actually, Houston's probably going to pass Chicago, and Houston's going to become number 3.
I've been to Houston, no way.
Yeah, well, you haven't been to all of it because it takes 3 hours to drive across it. They got a little game they're playing down in Houston where if we just count the entire part of the state as our city, we'll be able to count more people in there. Which, by the way, love Houston, great city, but it's massive. But anyways, the Bears stink, and Aaron Rodgers though on the flip side, hey, he plays the football good. And when he has all his weapons, Lazard back was a big deal. Obviously, Big Bob Tunyon made some plays. That defense started making some plays as well. Do you think the Packers have a chance in the NFC for real this year? They were in the NFC Championship last year. They somehow made a run, right? Everybody was talking about how they're winning ugly. They end up in the NFC Championship. Do you think they can make a run in the NFC this year for real?
Yeah, man. I think anybody who got a top-notch quarterback in the NFC has a chance because every team at the top kind of has question marks. I think the Saints they have the best roster, but you got Taysom Hill at quarterback. He had the first week he was out there was decent, but I said on the show right after I said 2-3 weeks down the line it's going to be real tough for him to play quarterback. In December. Playing like really having to drop back and make reads and make throws. When they get near that damn goal line, they run that quarterback power. It's a touchdown, but between them 20s, it's going to be different. So that'll be interesting to watch how that quarterback situation unfolds. But Seattle, we'll see them play tonight. Their defense still has a bunch of question marks. The Bucks, they're up and down. Week in and week out, know what you're going to get from them. So, I feel like everybody has a chance over there who has a top-notch quarterback.
6.5 point favorites tonight. Somehow only 6.5 against the Eagles. How do you see it? And what?
Only.
It was only, yeah, only. I think the Eagles stink, dude. They're a team that's in complete disarray. Peterson's potentially up. Mm-hmm. His name's potentially up for grab with Carson Wentz. That might be a whole new. Yeah. There's a lot of people, by the way, and this is social media, and this is what the internet is. You can air your grievances to people who are connected to the place that you're having grievances with. Like social media has made people who complain voices so much louder than they ever were before. Eagles in the past, I assume their fans were just as mad as they are now in the past moments because that's Eagles fans have legendary emotional outbursts about everything or whatever. But the Eagles were able to say, well, no, I mean, they're upset, but they're hopeful or whatever. And then now with social media, it's like, oh, see, I think you're wrong because I'm going to let you know what this person just said. This person just said, if Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz are on the Eagles next year, they will switch allegiances to another fucking team. That is what this Eagles season ticket holder just said. It's like, it's changed everything. We're about to have maybe 8 positions up for grabs after this year. It's everybody, a lot of turnover. And the Eagles are potentially a team. Tonight, they're 6.5 point dogs. How do you see it going?
I mean, I definitely see Seattle covering. I said they win by a touchdown. Peterson, I think he'll get another I think he'll get one more stab at it next year just because of all the vacancies that there'll be in this offseason. Wentz, though, I think they're a couple weeks late pulling that plug on Wentz. Unless Jalen Hurts is just looking trash in practice, I mean, I don't see why you don't give him a shot at this point. Wentz has been playing terrible. With all the guys out there, Dan Orlovsky being number 1, making every excuse in the book that you can make for Carson Wentz for the last couple of years since his 13-3 tear MVP rate. We've been talking about that for years now, but who's the guy been the last 2 years? And if you look at it, he's just been a sloppy football player, talented, but sloppy, doesn't take care of the ball, and that'll cost you. So I think Seattle definitely come and get that win tonight. I think Russell, he throws over that 285 tonight. He's gone back-to-back games now. Under 250, I think 240 something, and then 200 yards barely with the win against the Cardinals. And every other game he's been over 300. So that was the last two back-to-back games that he wasn't. So he'll be over 300 tonight, and he definitely gets that win.
Okay, so Russell Wilson over 287.5, and you have the Seattle Seahawks covering. It's at 6.5 right now by at least a touchdown. Does the fact that it was his birthday yesterday also hammer home and solidify that fact that he's going to absolutely dominate today?
We've seen some birthday performances. That not Naeem Hines performance. You know, they got whooped up on yesterday, but might be something to it. We'll see.
Dangerous.
We'll see. But another thing, Eagles don't turn the ball over on defense. They don't create any turnovers. And obviously, when Russell did struggle, it was with him throwing picks, getting reckless with the ball. Eagles, they're pretty middle of the road when it comes to defending the pass, but they don't create turnovers, so that's going to cost them.
He literally had 7 turnovers in like 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, lost a couple fumbles too.
Yeah.
He was broken.
I want to say 10. It was almost, 10 in 3 weeks.
Is he broken? Did they have a bye?
Nah, he'll bounce back, man. And plus, you see.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't know this is Broken Russ. I forgot about this. We are currently in the middle of Broken Russ. Maybe the birthday, though? Maybe the birthday he came back? Because I was buying everything you were selling until I remember that Russell Wilson's broken right now.
Chris Carson comes back tonight, which is huge for him.
Huge.
He was broken.
Huge.
He was
He's chucking it up.
Bro,
he sees what's going on, man.
He looked like Mitchell Trubisky a couple times.
Whoa.
Yeah. I've said it, dude.
Never. It'll be hard for him. He'll have to play left-handed to look like that.
That fourth and goal.
Russell be back. He'll be back in the talks of that. He'll be back in MVP talks in a couple weeks. You got Pat Mahomes, who kind of he got in the driver's seat like for real last night, yesterday. Then you got A-Rod had another amazing performance, so he's kind of got back in the conversation. And Russ got to get back in there. Russ was number one until he fell off, so I think Russ gets back in the convo tonight.
Aaron Rodgers right here, I assume MVP talk. Patrick Mahomes like right here, you think?
Right below.
Right below?
I would say Patrick Mahomes be one. A-Rod would be like right here.
Nah. See the way I'm seeing it is this way right here. Aaron Rodgers here, Patrick Mahomes like right here. You know what I mean? Like right here and right here. You know what I mean?
Take him now. He's great value. Mahomes is minus 400. Rodgers is plus 600 in second place.
Uh-oh. This guy I got, too. That's this guy I got. And now,
how confident are you then?
Now you're saying this guy's up here and now he's an underdog?
Aaron, right now.
Well, that's how the sports books have it as well. And it does feel like what Patrick Mahomes was doing yesterday was just unbelievable. Now, granted, they did fall victim to their success early where they decided that they weren't going to continue to step on the throat. They let the Bucs get in. Chiefs don't cover. But Patrick Mahomes, all last play. Yeah, they didn't cover. It was unbelievable. 3.5. Outrageous.
You saw it coming, too. You saw it coming.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
You saw it coming. When you got in the second half, I want to say late third quarter, they might have went 17. I think it was 17-27. I was like, yep, I see it happening.
Yeah. Everybody was seeing things. I was just feeling, that the Chiefs were going to keep going. But this is what they did last year in their playoff run, their magical run, after they lost to the Texans, the Colts. Whenever they have to turn it on, they turned it on. They scored, 28 points in one quarter in the playoffs last year because they were getting shut out. It's like, all right, we got to turn it on. Let's do it. They have that ability, and I don't know who can stop it whenever they decide to turn it on. Obviously, nobody has been able to when they decide to go on full force. And they have Lev Bell, who's starting to play football very good again.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, the best option you have to beat the Chiefs is you got to do your very, very, very best to keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket. And as crazy as it sounds, he can kill you from the pocket as well. But when he extends plays to his right or his left, that backpedal he does to the left of the pocket is it's unbelievable how he opens up the field, can make every throw. But you keep him in that pocket. And obviously, you got to turn him over when you get a chance. And guys that don't do that, he's gonna make you pay for it. You can't double Kelsey and Hill every play. You got to keep a safety over top of Hill. But that's your best bet, man. Have a front four that can get after him. But more importantly, keep him in that pocket, because once he gets out of that pocket and extends plays, you really can't stop, Ty Hill or Kelsey back there.
Poor Carlton Davis, dude. He had no shot, dude. No shot. And they were zoomed in on him hanging they were zoomed in on him going like this. I'm like, all right, take it easy on this guy because every corner in the NFL, if they had to go one-on-one with Tyreek Hill and there was 7, 8, 9 second long plays happening, there's no way that you can keep up. His name is Cheetah. There's no way you can keep up. He was stuck in a situation where he was no win the entire way.
That's a bad feeling to be in that blender, man. That's what we call it as DBs, just been in a blender. And it's sometimes it's nothing you can do. I've been in a blender. I've been in a Big Ben blender. I've been in a Peyton blender. And sometimes it's just nothing you can do, man. And he had that red dot on him. But I can't put that all on him, man. You can't come into the game saying I'm going to put Carlton Davis press one-on-one against the Cheetah. Like, even if that play call comes in and I'm Carlton Davis, like I'm looking back at, Bethea or safety behind me, like, hey, you get over there and take care of this over route so I can get outside leverage and I'll take care of this other stuff. But you can't try to play on one-on-one straight up. You can't do it.
They tried, man.
Best receiver in the NFL right now. That's my overreaction today. He's the best guard on one-on-one.
Did you just punch something over there? It sounded like you just put out some electric. How passionate you were.
For a second.
Back whenever he was returning punts too. Is that me or who is that? Hold on, my thing's cracking too when I talk. Whenever he was returning punts, I thought he was potentially the most dangerous football player to ever play football. Because whenever he was punt returning, it was unstoppable, basically, if he wanted to. It's like if you needed one and you didn't hit it perfect, he's on the other side of the field already. He can take that thing to the house if he needs to. Then on offense, Andy Reid he never gets tired. It seems like he never gets tired. They run him so much, either as a decoy or a distraction to open up other things, and he still feels like he is just running. It's unbelievable. His durability, too, you would think with somebody who's that fast.
Yeah, he's strong.
Yeah.
He's strong. He's built, and I've never seen a combination of someone that fast but that quick at the same time. Usually you're one or the other. Either you're quick as hell like a Wes Walker in short area space, or you can just fly like a Marquise Goodwin or something. But this dude has world-class speed and world-class quickness, and then he's built. He's stocky. He's not like a lanky sprinter. So he's a tough tackle. But yeah, best receiver in the league right now, bro.
So last question before we let you go. We can't thank you enough for your time here. Amber coming up against. I think your thing's you broke your thing whenever you hit your thing.
What's going on over there?
A lot of static.
It looks great, but
you broke your thing.
Oh, shit.
No, you broke your thing. I mean,
Is it fixed?
no.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good.
Much better.
All right, cool.
What are you running a board over there?
Jeez.
I'm getting my Zito on over here.
Yeah.
Hey, boy.
Hey, that's awesome. Last question before we let you go here. Tony Romo was talking about how you can watch the Chiefs on film, and then whenever you get to experience it, you're like, could never guess that speed was coming. Is that something that happens? Is like you see something on film, you think you have a plan for it, and then in real life, this is much different than we thought it was going to be.
It's exactly what we saw when Nate Robinson hopped his ass in that boxing. You can train for it, you can spar, you can do all the cute IG videos and shit, but when those lights roll and you step in that ring, it's a whole different ball game, and you don't play boxing. So you can watch that shit on film, you can go and walk through, you can put whoever is the fastest kid on practice squad in the jersey with number 10 on, but until you get on that field and get out there with them, it's nothing like it, man.
Hey, and we have to say much respect to Nate for stepping in there, obviously.
Yeah, boy, Nate.
Nah, the hell with that. Stop. People need to stop saying that shit, man. Stay in your lane, man. You want to call about for a fight, that's cool. But boxing, that's a whole nother ball game, man. I'm glad Snoop was commentating.
Yeah, made the night. All right. By the way, Jake Paul does not fuck around in there. He's been doing it for like 3 years at this point. Now, granted, the boxing match was not clean or pretty at all. I mean, it was very terrible to watch. But the fact that I would never get it. Somebody tweeted that they want me to box Jake Paul next. It's like, no fucking chance, okay? The cardio that is involved in that, no way am I anywhere near that. And also, I don't have time just to practice getting punched in the face, which is what you have to do for boxing.
Dedicate your
you
entire
have to
life
get punched in the face and be like okay with it. Like there's no way I would do it. So that's why I say respect to Nate Robinson for getting in there.
I'm gonna be real with you. For the culture, it got to be a black dude to beat him. It got to be a black dude to get in there. We done had Wilder. He done got his ass whooped by Fury. Nate Roberts, you done went there and got your ass whooped by Jake, this YouTube dude. So we got to get somebody in there, man. Ron Artest, you come out of retirement.
Holy shit. All right. Hey, man. Good luck to the culture. Hey, good luck to the culture. I'm not exactly thrilled, okay, with the way that was laid out, obviously, because Jake Paul deserves, he's representing the entire white race, I guess.
Now he is.
So there's going to be a lot of black dudes getting walked up on. Come on, man. Come on now. Somebody got to shit.
Darius Butler.
T-Ball. Let's go, T-Ball.
Oh, my God. It was awesome. Jake Paul fighting for all the white people.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in there? That's awesome. I watched that fight this morning.
Yeah.
I saw the highlights, obviously, on the internet and everything like that, which is kind of what, I guess the payouts. Mike Tyson, $10 million. Roy Jones Jr., $10 million. Jake Paul and Nate, $600,000.
Mm-hmm. Not a bad day.
Jake Paul stole the night, though, right? Snoop Dogg and Jake Paul stole the night, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Paul, I mean, if you watch the videos of him training, you're like, this guy's taking this very fucking serious.
Oh, yeah.
And that's immediate thought. It's like, okay, this guy, he was a wrestler in high school, so he's okay with just running himself to death. That's what wrestlers do cardio-wise. He's pretty well built. And he said that he was with his trainer every day during quarantine training out of box. It's like, all right, probably going to win this one if I had to guess. There's no chance I do that, by the way. A lot of respect for people that get in there, but that is just everything I potentially hate all in one. The ass beating in the face boxing without the ability to use your legs or your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to win in War Games, because it is boxing! It's a full
Oh, too much.
They really just inflate it back. Did they just send somebody down there?
I don't know the procedure, but I just know they reinflate it.
Not quite, Pat McAfee. Let's talk. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and this is your #1 source for learning about the unique medical side of the world of sports. Someone sent me this clip from the Pat McAfee show the other day where he was talking about how they treat and manage a collapsed lung like Drew Brees had. And no real hate on Pat here. He's not a doctor. He shouldn't know. But they completely misexplained here what they do. And so I'm going to clear it up in this video by reacting here to what he said and fill in the gaps to explain to you guys how they really treat this with Drew Brees' collapsed lung.
Collapsed lung. How many lungs you got? 2?
Yeah, that's it.
So we're off to a good start. Pat McAfee's right here. We have 2 lungs, a right and a left, but within each we have multiple lobes. On the left side, it's pretty easy. We have a left superior lobe, and then we have a left inferior lobe. On the right, a little more complicated, but still pretty easy. We have a right superior lobe, we have a right middle lobe, and then we have a right inferior lobe. So 3 lobes on the right, 2 lobes on the left, still 2 lungs overall.
What's the deal? Everybody talks like, oh, punctured lung, not that big of a deal. Collapsed lung, not that big of a deal. It's like, what happened?
Yeah, usually a collapsed lung is not that big of a deal, but they can develop something called a tension pneumothorax, where that pressure builds up so much in the lung that it can actually push on the blood vessels of the heart, impairing your cardiac output, and can actually be fatal. So typically, yeah, collapsed lungs, while very painful and needing management, aren't always life or death. They can develop into a tension pneumothorax, which actually can be fatal. So they have to be taken very seriously nonetheless.
It's a couple. They work together.
Oh, so you tag team each other? Or
I believe so.
Tag one in, tag one in?
Good point here too. The lungs do work together. There are people who can have a lobectomy, where they essentially remove one of those lobes of the lung, and you can still get enough oxygen perfusion to your blood. So yes, when someone has a collapsed lung, they can still get enough oxygen for kind of vital functions, but you're going to feel very short of breath, and it's going to be super painful.
One picks up the slack.
And when the one collapses, how come do they just send like people go over there and just like take a plunger and like bring it back?
They inflate it.
How's it work? How do the lungs?
All right, so they do not just re-inflate the lung whenever somebody has a collapsed lung, and this is kind of the biggest misconception here from his video.
We went to high school with a kid who had a collapsed lung in a game, and
also note here, I've had multiple collapsed lungs, so I've kind of been through this in terms of the symptoms and how they treat it, so I have a little bit of experience, unlike a lot of the other sports injuries I talk about.
Inflate it, and then you're out for
what? Blow it up like send something down like a bed, like a air mattress.
Exactly.
And you got somebody just stepping on it.
Yeah, it was like in Space Jam, right?
And then they check the PSI, and then they puncture it. You know what I mean? Like the thing.
Oh, too much.
All right, so I know Pat's kind of joking here, probably intentionally, but might not actually understand how we actually treat these. No, you don't go in and reinflate the lung when the lung collapses. What you do is you suck the air out of the space around the lung, which allows the lung to reinflate itself. Our lungs are surrounded by this layer of tissue called a visceral pleura, and then there's a parietal pleura that's on the inside of the chest wall. There's a potential space in between those two linings, and that potential space is actually at a negative pressure with normal breathing. When you have a collapsed lung, what's happened is there's air that's escaped the lung or gotten in from the outside of the body that goes into that potential space, and the pressure goes up. As the pressure goes up, that increasing pressure actually pushes the lung inward. So it's not really that the lung collapses, so to speak. It's more so that the lung is getting pushed to collapse because of the pressure in the chest building up from excess air. What they actually do to treat these is, if it's an emergency type of situation, they'll take a needle with an empty syringe and they'll stick that into the chest to allow that pressure to blow out and escape from the chest wall to let the lung reinflate. When somebody puts a chest tube in, it's trying to drain the air from the chest cavity, so you're not putting air back into the lung to pump it back up like an inflatable bed. You're pulling the air that's got into that space out so that the lung can reinflate itself.
They really just inflate it back? Did they just send somebody down there?
I don't know the procedure.
So again, no, they don't send anything down there. They come in from the outside, they put a needle in, they put a tube in. That allows the air to escape, which lowers that pressure and lets the lung reinflate.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. Hour 3 on this Overreaction Monday. November 30th, 2020 begins right now. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show.
Nice. That's right.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah, used to be Fleet, but Twitter, it's going to war with me right now.
See you later.
Not smart.
Well, it actually, they can do whatever they want. Things. I think what we've all learned here
not
is
this us.
they have all the control.
That's the problem.
Which, oh Jesus, we don't even have time to get into that. We've already stirred one pot today that we didn't even know we were stirring. I mean, very interesting. Joining us right now, college champion and Super Bowl champion AJ Hawk. And joining us, ladies and gentlemen, 5-time Pro Bowler. Yesterday, he had 8 receptions for 143 yards and 1 touchdown. He founded the Jarvis Landry Building Winners Foundation. Just a couple weeks ago on Tuesday, November 17th, Jarvis Landry hosted his inaugural Jarvis Landry Thanksgiving food drive, fed over 300 local families on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, good guy on the field, good guy off the field.
Hell yeah.
First time on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Cleveland Browns, Jarvis Landry. my man?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, I heard your power went out. Is everything all right over there?
Yeah, man, I hope so. I need to hurry up and come back on.
It's Cleveland. It's cold as hell over there, huh?
Yeah, ain't nothing going on. It's gray as hell outside, too.
Yeah, it's going to be that way for 6 months. That's a good thing about the Midwest. Whenever the sun decides to leave, it's just gray for its entire time. Whenever you learned you were going to the Cleveland Browns, or when you chose to go to the Cleveland Browns, what was the thought? Was it like, hey, I'm going to go into a place where we can turn the organization around? And I went to LSU. I was in Miami. I was in the SEC. I'm cool with sun. I don't need it for 6 months. Is that the thought?
No, I mean, instantly thinking, obviously, they were, 1-15 the year before. So,
yeah.
That was a thought in my mind. And obviously the weather plays a part. But, for me, I just love the game. So it didn't really matter where I was going. I just knew that, that this would be the result, where we are now and what we have the potential to become.
Jarvis, what's it like now, I guess, compared to when you first showed up? I know I live in Ohio, so I know there's been a lot of moving parts in Cleveland over the years, but you guys are in a good spot. Like, does it feel different?
Yeah, man, it feels special. I was on one playoff team, my 7 years being in the league, and I was out in Miami when that happened. And, it's just a different feeling. Everybody's happy for each other. There's no egos. It's that team camaraderie, that spirit. Obviously, COVID has been in the way a lot of the team bonding stuff, but outside of that, man, I think we're a pretty tight-knit team, and that's what has helped us stay together throughout everything.
I've always said I've been on a team that almost went completely defeated, and I was on a team that almost went completely undefeated. And I feel like the one big glaring difference, aside from winning games, right? That is the biggest difference in those two particular examples there. But the team liked each other on the teams that were good, and the team didn't like each other. And by the way, didn't like each other doesn't mean like, oh, I hate this guy or whatever. It's just like you don't really fuck with each other. Like it's not a tight-knit group. The fact that the Browns have been able to do that is very interesting to me because just a few years ago, we saw you on Hard Knocks give a speech, one of the best speeches I've seen a player give. That wasn't, by the way, normally when players speak, we all know it's like, all right, shut up, dude, like what you're doing. But your speech in that wide receiver room was my immediate introduction to you as a person, you as a teammate and everything like that. You've had to been a big driver to the changing of the culture. Did you want to have that pressure on you? Like, hey, I'm going to have to be a part of changing a program and an organization that has not had a winning ways for a long, long time. Did you know like that was going to be a role for you, or is that something you've always done?
No, I just kind of always been the type of person, for me, first of all, like I've always led by example. I try not to talk too much. And, being on those teams where, a guy doesn't say too much but goes out there, leads by example, works hard, has a great work ethic. Usually when that guy speaks, everybody listens, you know. And, I thought it was an opportunity for me just to being in a room, being one of the older guys that had some kind of success in this league that, it was time for something to be said. But, I was not the only one. I'm not the only one that helped change this culture. But, I always just felt like, again, coming in Cleveland, it's a big mindset thing, in anything in life, and especially in this sport. And my biggest thing to everybody in the organization, it was not ever taking the field hoping to win. It was like expecting to win, and that was just my mindset, my mentality. That's how I play the game, and I'm happy that that's kind of been trickling down throughout the players, the organization, whatever it is. But one man can't change a culture alone. It takes a lot of different people. Of the right type of people in the building as well.
What has Stefanski done, especially in this time with COVID? Like, what has he done, I guess, to instill that culture you guys seem to have going pretty well?
Yeah, man. I mean, we're doing whatever it takes to win. The last 3 weeks we've been playing in an environment, in conditions that, like, you don't even think you will see in Cleveland. 50 miles an hour winds, I mean, it's hailing. I mean, and we just doing whatever it takes to win. I think the biggest thing for me, just realizing with Coach Stefanski, man, is he a winner, and he's about his business. He's all about the details, and that's something that's very important in this league, as you guys know.
I think I heard him mic'd up. He talks shit too, I think, right? He's a little chirpy, right?
It's in there. It's in there. He don't bring it out often, but it's definitely in there, somewhere in there for sure.
It's been awesome to watch you guys win this year for the fan base, basically, right? I mean, obviously for you guys, awesome for you guys as well. But that dog pound has been a loyal bunch. And I assume whenever you were at Miami and you go play Cleveland, whenever we were playing Cleveland, it'd be late in the season. It'd be cold as hell. They were nowhere near playoff conversation. And that stadium would be packed with people very drunk, very angry, and very loyal to the Cleveland Browns. Kind of sucks that this year you guys got it going and nobody can be in the stands. You can't really fill that place up, but it's got to feel pretty good to be, like, you know, on the internet, I'd assume there's a lot of support coming for the Browns from the city and from the fans and everything like that.
Yeah, it's always been positivity. You know, I mean, since I got here, you know, I think the hope and the belief, you know, has been centered around having a team that obviously they're going to believe in their team, but, you know, having a team that is not, you know, considered a laughingstock of the NFL, or a team that's continuing to win a championship just like everybody else is, you know. So I think, you know, for us, obviously being a unique year, we just allow another 6,000 people. So we got 12,000 people in the stadium now. So, you know, that's good. And hopefully as this thing dies down, hopefully soon, you know, we can get more people in there as we make this run.
Yeah, as long as everybody's safe, obviously. Let's talk about the team that you have now. Yeah, as long as everybody's safe. Hey, nobody ever talks about that. 75 Ravens players tested positive. It's like, well, let's hope they all survive, okay, first of all. Then let's worry about the damn games that are happening, okay, and then we'll move on from there. But your team that you guys have, it was obviously the Odell Beckham Jr. injury was a massive hit. That is a dynamic player. I know a good friend of yours, and you were a part of potentially getting him to Cleveland. And I think watching him mature as a player and become a leader has been a lot of fun from outside, by the way, looking in. But your team now, incredible run game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt back there. Offensive line's doing it. Feels like the offense with Stefanski, with Baker moving. Yesterday, you have 143 yards. Could have had a little bit more left on the table, obviously, but that's going to be every single game. How do you feel about where the team is right now, how the offense is, and what have you guys learned about yourselves to move forward here in an AFC that is very stacked right now?
Yeah. Again, playing in this league, like, you get to understand that, like, you know, you want to start playing your best football around November, December, around this time, you know, and leading up into January, and hopefully everybody wants to play in February. So I think for us, the best football that we have to play is ahead of us. You know, we're going to continue to, you know, take things positive and negative from the games that we've played, you know, especially this last one. Like you say, we left points out there, we left plays, yards, whatever. So we're just going to continue to look forward to learning from our mistakes, growing through the positivity, and, you know, like I say, the best football is ahead of us.
Do you think that you guys are that maybe national media members and different people may be sleeping on the Browns a little bit, or do you guys feel like you're getting the respect you deserve?
No, I mean, I think people know we're coming, you know, and I think that's fair to say. You know, we play the type of football that, you know, a lot of these teams play, that, you know, we're going to challenge a lot of these teams. So I think for us, again, like, we're just trying to focus on playing our best football throughout these last couple months, and, you know, just see where we end up.
I think your birthday was a couple days ago. How old did you become?
28, on the 28th.
Hey.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man. What did you learn in your 27th year you think that you're going to carry into year 28?
Man, just be grateful, man. Life is too short. Life is hella short, man. And just be grateful. Continue to love on my family, and, you know, go to work and try to be great. You know, same things, man. But just as you get older, I think you just get a little bit more wisdom, you know, with things that you hope to grow from.
Well, I think it's the little things start getting appreciated a lot more as you get older. You know, like the things that you just kind of like scrape by, like the little thing. I would assume the wins right now, you guys are enjoying the hell out of those. Now, obviously, socially distanced, with masks on.
Please.
Okay, please. Don't dance either. Don't need you dancing in the locker room. COVID, whenever you dance, catches the beat and goes
No fun.
to whoever else is dancing. Stop laughing, Jarvis. It takes all of us.
It takes
all
all
right?
of us.
Please stop laughing. It takes all of us. I can't wait to watch your guys' team, man. Watch you guys go. What is the locker room like? What was it like whenever Odell gets in there and you got Baker and obviously the Myles Garrett situation last year and the team wasn't winning? What is the locker room like? You guys can't be around each other much, but how is Odell and how has Baker been able to both struggle and continue to rise in that locker? What is the locker room like over there?
Yeah, I mean, we got good leadership, and that's one of the things that we could continue to build on, and I think that's one of the things that's helped us get over this hump, right? But again, like it's going to be continual effort, continue just stay into the details with this unique situation with COVID. Like we were pretty much home the whole morning and go in for an hour, 2 hours for practice, and then we back home. So I think for us, which I like that schedule. Not being in a building all day, so that's like the perk of the whole COVID thing. But I mean, outside of that, bro, it's we go in, we work, and we know we don't have time to waste.
Hey, do you think some of these young guys that this is all they know, this is their rookie year? Like, do you think it's going to be a big like an eye-opening experience when they realize, hey, next year, hopefully next year, I'm going to be at the facility 15 hours a day? Like, is it going to be hard to go back to that
for no reason?
Yeah, I don't know if they actually know. It's definitely been a unique year for them, so we'll see. Hopefully they can handle it well.
You threw a tutty, I believe, a few weeks. It was an absolute strike to the corner over there. Let's say, for instance, what happened in the Broncos this week, and I don't know if you know this, every quarterback was deemed ineligible the day before the game, okay? Yeah. So Saturday, while they're going through their walkthrough, from what I've been told, quarterbacks sprint off the field in the middle of it. Okay, high risk contact tracing. You guys are all ineligible, even though you've been doing a walkthrough. See you later, can't play, get out of here. They bring in a guy. If something like that was to happen for the Cleveland Browns, would you be the quarterback?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Hey, let's think about that next contract negotiation. You know what I mean? Let's think about that next contract. We appreciate you so much, man. What do you got today? Just chilling?
Man, just chilling, hanging out with the fam. Table work, same thing.
Man. You're a cool dude, huh? Yeah, you're a pretty cool guy.
Man, the price of it, man, it's boring, but it's worth it, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jarvis Landry. Hey, that was a cool guy. That was a super cool guy.
He answered the question, too, and I asked him, like, yeah, are people sleeping on the Browns? Because I've seen things now today, what's wrong with the Browns? They barely beat the Jags. Like, he answered it perfectly. Like, hey, they know we're coming.
Let me tell you why they barely beat the fucking Jags. Because of a hit to the head call by the ref that was absolute garbage bullshit that was on fourth down, turnover on downs. That score is much different without that call on Skycam Glennon. And listen, Skycam doesn't deserve that because it wasn't him that made the call, but that was a bullshit call at the end of the game. Olivier Vernon was on the sideline celebrating the dub. Just got a fourth down sack. How you doing? Keep it moving. We win the game. Oh, no. You got to come all the way back out. And this whole score is going to. But you're right, though. I think it's because Steelers, Ravens, AFC North is packed right now with talent. Steelers are undefeated. Ravens last year had the MVP and they won a division. I mean, it's hard to kind of get in conversation piece there, but 9-3 ain't nothing to fuck around with at this point. Nothing at all.
It's pretty good. I think the other, you mentioned that the hands to the face, which we saw a lot of that, especially last night. But how about the dude with Olszewski or whatever, the Patriots dude who got absolutely screwed?
Yeah, the block. You can't block back towards your own end zone.
The guy, first off, I understand how the rule is written, whatever. But as I was watching that live, I'm like, oh no, someone's got to peel back and get this dude, and it was beautiful, an absolute thing of beauty. But the guy was running, Anthony Jennings, I believe, stopped. I'm like, he put himself in big time peril
in front of a train.
Yeah, this guy's running full speed. I'm gonna stop and turn back and just sacrifice my body. Oh wait, I get a penalty. You take this touchdown away from this guy.
But also, by the way, this guy, who knows how many punt return touchdowns he'll ever have in his entire career or whatever. It's not going to happen again, probably. It's very difficult to do that, by the way. It's especially with how everything is now, or kick return touchdowns. It's very difficult to happen, even though Cordell Patterson had a couple and everything like that. And yesterday, I think this weekend, we saw more than we've ever seen, especially with the onside kick going back or whatever. But I guess the way you're supposed to do that is you're supposed to act like you're running in front of him and slow down is what you're supposed to do, because you're not allowed to block back towards your own end zone. But the rule was made so there was no crackbacks coming back whenever guys were blindsided and absolutely getting killed, whether it was a punt return, kick return, or a field goal, a short field goal return where guys were just getting absolutely hammered. But in that particular case, I feel like common sense should have won. I feel like that should have got, but it's the rule. Hey, the rules is the rules. Yeah. The rules is the rules.
I get like the whole you can't block back towards the goal line, but if he's just standing there and letting him run into him, it shouldn't be a flag.
Yeah,
right?
and what do they want? I think Save it. So you see a save it block a lot, right? Where guys are coming in for a tackle and there's a potential collision happening, and you can't block the person because then you're getting their shoulders. So you see a lot of save it blocks where guys turn and they put their butts basically in front of the person. So it's no hands, it's just your body. I think he was supposed to do that in that situation, which, by the way, he gets trampled probably.
Yeah.
If he boom, 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 boom. But touchdown still happens. It takes all of us. Are you going to do it for your team or not? I mean, it's unbelievable. We got to get to a break. On the other side, we'll ask AJ about what his thoughts were on the weekend. We'll ask him about the game tonight, Seahawks and Eagles. And much, much more. Probably some phone calls. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Lines are full, but whenever they open up, call in. We can't wait to chat with you. This is the Pat McAfee Show on Overreaction Monday, November 30th. Not Fleet anymore, AJ. I don't know if you know this. Me and Twitter are currently going at it.
I heard you got a shadow ban like Alex Jones or what?
Yeah.
Exactly like it.
Yeah, like fucking Alex Jones.
What'd you do? What happened?
I have no idea.
They didn't like that you were promoting everything that they have?
I know. That's the thing. Is I started promoting that dog shit product Fleet that they had. I started promoting it just because I like Twitter so much. I've been on Twitter so long. It's where I invest a lot of my time. It's where I learn everything. It's where I interact with people. Twitter has been my home for a long, long time. And you can look up the stats. It says that I do a lot of damage on there.
Yep.
And then they just, out of nowhere, and I'm promoting your shit.
Oh, see ya.
Sorry,
No, I'm not going anywhere, by the way. I will stay on there. There's nothing I can do. I just got to hope that they don't do it anymore, and that's just where I'm living at. Alex Jones, by the way, interesting story about Alex Jones, and this is probably taking our YouTube down right now. I learned about him, his existence entirely, 2 weeks before he got kicked off of the internet. Is that how long? It was about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, give or take.
We were all in.
This human shows up in my life, okay, and starts cutting promos about all this shit, and I just start dying. I'm like, this guy, this character here, right? Because, I mean, if you look at that and you don't go, oh, this guy is cutting a promo here, this is a character, I think you're looking at it all wrong. I'm like, this guy is fucking electric. And then I get a bunch of people that are like, did you see what he did to the Sandy Hook kids? And I'm like, no. People are protesting and all this. I'm like, what? Who's listening to Alex Jones cut a promo and going and doing things? Like, a lot of people. So he gets kicked off the internet immediately after that. So I only got him for 2 weeks. That's all I got him for. And then he was on Rogan a couple weeks ago. He was all the way back. He was all the way back. First question, Tim Dillon or whatever's wearing that shirt. And what's her name? Ghislaine? And he goes, it's Ghislaine. And I was like, oh, here we go. Alex Jones. But yeah, he gets shadow banned. I believe politicians get shadow. What did I do? I don't do any of that shit.
Try to promote him.
I don't know anything about it. I didn't try to promote
Twitter.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You got to really choose your words.
I used them at the wrong time.
Well, yeah, that's what I'll say. Sometimes. Use your brain, is what Diggs was saying.
No. I was, but.
Anyways, 21 minutes into this third hour. We'll be back on the other side. Phone calls and more. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Whoa! Sirius XM Channel 82. Well, hello, sensual piano keys. You sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them, you heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make them tear the uniform off of you. Sure. Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches! Cut the music! Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys.
boy. That's for you, brother. Oh my God.
Are you home?
All right, come out the front door.
What's up, dude?
What is this? What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you. Oh, yeah. That is the bag of money.
FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in there for it. Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. Oh, $50,000 in there.
Oh my God.
Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Yes, there's $50,000.
Are you fucking serious?
Let's go.
Rub it back.
Oh, man. Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude.
We did it?
Couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, thank you. Dude, it's a fuck ton of money. You guys.
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
Well, and you should know those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration. Because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office, and we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Yes! It was a buzzer beater to find it.
Did you just fool us?
Yeah, no. At the time, two things. Thought the Sirius bumper was going to be longer than it was.
Yep.
And I had to scroll through there to find this one.
If I say I got to go, there's this place down by the cove.
Whoa. Welcome back to the show. This is Late Night Special Band. Song's called Don't Leave Me Lonely. We're not lonely. We're joined by AJ Hawk. AJ, yesterday, what did you learn from the teams? We kind of went through this in the first and second hour, but I'm excited to hear your take. Here's our thoughts. Ready? Bears dead. See you later.
Yep.
Dunzo. Buccaneers currently broken, but got 4 games after this bye week to hopefully build some confidence and find it. Denver Broncos. I didn't enjoy the way they were all happy after that game that they participated, basically, but they were put in a no-win situation. Kansas City Chiefs, unbeatable whenever they decide to be. Las Vegas Raiders, what the fuck happened to them? And Miami Dolphins get a win. That's basically all we got.
That was it. No.
Arizona Cardinals, come see, come saw. You never know what you're going to get. Is it more Bill Belichick or is it more Kyler and Cliff kind of being hit or miss depending on the weeks? We don't know. Hopefully it's not Bill Belichick still causing quite a problem because the Patriots could potentially backdoor this thing if a Week 18 has to happen with 16 teams. That's where we're at. Can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Well, first, does anyone feel, let's say the Patriots find a way to get to the playoffs, does anyone really feel that they're a true threat to make a run?
No.
Absolutely not.
I agree. I concur with that statement. But also, the Raiders, when I was watching the Raiders, I couldn't believe it as the score keeps going more and more, but they turned the ball over 5 times. So if I'm a Raiders fan, I wouldn't write them off. I wouldn't say they're dead. I think, hey, this hopefully is an outlier. We're not going to turn the ball over 5 times every single time we play. But we did get annihilated by the Atlanta Falcons, so I might be a little bit worried, but I'm not complete. I wouldn't be out on the Raiders.
That was tough. I mean, that was a tough game to watch. The Bucs have to play the Falcons twice in their final 4 games. If the Falcons are going to play the way they played, greedy, stingy on defense, potentially bad news for the Bucs, right? Potentially. The Buccaneers, though, is the big story coming out of the weekend. Now, obviously, Chiefs doing the Chiefs stuff, Packers doing the Packers stuff, Bears being dead. I think that was declared even when they were 5-1. The big story is, are the Bucs broken? And does Tom Brady and Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich, do they have enough time to figure it out, or will they ever figure it out? They look like they were lost. They didn't look confident or happy yesterday. That was a bad football game by that team.
Yeah, it was weird. It's the same thing that I've said on here before. Like, Tom didn't look comfortable. He never looked like he's having fun. That's the tough about it. And I can imagine being in his position. I think Romo explained it a few times during the game.
More than a few.
More sure, quite a few times.
Thought that was Bill.
But it is true. Like, you absolutely need to be on the same page with your receivers. Like, you can't have any doubt when you're going to pull the trigger whether he's going to take this up or he's going to step back. It's going to be back shoulder. Like, all those little things like that. They may be. I wouldn't call them broken. I think they can absolutely put it together. I'm not 100% confident they will. But earlier in the show, I watched. I got up here a little bit earlier today, Pat.
Oh, really?
I watched some of it, and you guys started talking about the Patriots, or no, you started talking about the Bucs and Bruce Arians, the whole relationship. And I wrote down here on my little sheet of paper. I was like, "Whoa, does Tom have the power to get Josh McDaniels in there as the head coach next year?" And you said it as I'm thinking this and writing it down. You're like, "Can you imagine Josh McDaniels down there?" And I was like, "Geez, we're on the same wavelength." So I'm wondering, like, if it continues to go this way. Is there any chance that we see Tom Brady try to find a way to just I don't want to say screw over Bruce Arians, but say, hey, I got another season left on my contract here. Let's win a Super Bowl, and then McDaniels can just take this thing and run with it.
Let's talk about your notes that you took there. Incredible idea by you, by the way. I'm happy you wrote that down. And we talked about this last week. The fact that hand can even grab something the right way
insane.
is very impressive. You know what I mean? Very, very impressive now that we think about it. But let's talk about that notes section there. McDaniels, now Randy was there, I guess. Was McDaniels offense coordinator when Randy was there?
No.
Charlie Weiss? Who was it?
It was after Weiss. I don't know the name per se.
McDaniels and Brady have had a lot of success without just a stacked lineup at the weapons department, right? I mean, if you think about that offense, I mean, it's just, obviously it's the same reason they were, as Bruce Arians titled it, handed the Super Bowl in August. I mean, that Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, who I think is up, he's really, really good at the football. Yes. I think my respect level for him. Now, granted, I know last year they both had massive seasons, everything like that, but we didn't watch them on TV every single week, which we knew what would happen whenever Tom gets down there. We get a chance to respect and appreciate them a little bit more. Those two are unbelievable. Then you add an Antonio Brown. Looks like he's still got it. Gronk feels like he's still got it. You have Rojo, who has only got the ball 9 times last night, rushed for 66 yards. He's able to go. Leonard Fournette seems to be broken as well, but they got him late in the season, maybe with an offseason. If McDaniels was able to utilize his big brain and know exactly what Tom Brady likes and what Tom Brady doesn't like, that's the thing. Now, I'm not saying Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians' offense is not success having a bull. Okay?
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Wow.
I'm not saying that at all. Like, I think that offense can be successful, but I don't know if Tom Brady is the guy to be successful in that offense that is happening down there. There's next to no play action. The run game's non-existent. They ran it 5 times 3 weeks ago. They ran it 11 times yesterday. It's just like a balanced offense has always been the Patriots thing. Like, hey, that's why you knew who the running backs were. That's why you knew the play action was going to work for them. There's a lot of plays that kind of go into the thing. They're not doing it. But if McDaniels, who knows Tom Brady inside and out, and he's wanted to be a head coach before he was in Denver, he took the job in Indianapolis, flew there, turned the plane back around, and said, fuck you, I'm out. Whoa. That whole thing. I don't know. That would be a weapon. But aside from that, are they done with Bruce down there? Or do they think it's potentially Bruce's fault? At Nick Marotta, what do you got?
So it was McDaniels from 2005 to 2008 as the O coordinator. He left, obviously, to take the Broncos job, came back in 2012, and has been there ever since.
What was that? 2006 was his big year, right? 2007?
Yeah, when he had 23 and Brady had 50.
Yeah. That's a pretty big day. So that was Josh McDaniels.
The others were Charlie Weiss and, of course, Billy O'Stooge.
Oh, yeah, Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien. Maybe get Bill down there. He's free.
I'm surprised you guys, because you guys believe in this so much, you think during the bye week they need a players-only meeting.
No, they can't. Can't even have players-only Zoom. That ain't going to happen.
A pizza party. You can't have that.
Fucking Buccaneers.
Hey, Yeah, it's definitely Zoom players only, and you got to keep scrolling through to see everybody's face. You got to make sure like all the 72 pages you have to pull up.
Yeah, and make sure they're all paying attention too. You know what I mean? And if somebody wants to chime in, they can't chime in when the other 70 are.
Nope.
So excuse me, please be quiet. Put yourself on mute, okay? It's on the lower left, or scroll past it. Need you to mute yourself, okay? Because we don't want to hear from you. We want to hear from the people that are supposed to talk. Like the kicker in the punter.
Hell yeah. That's how you win.
Did you hear that? Did you hear Sarah Fuller gave a halftime speech? That's fucking tough. That is tough.
That was news to me when I saw it right here. Breaking news on the show. But yeah.
Me too. Because I'm very supportive of everything. She didn't ask for it. Okay, they needed her to do it. She obviously didn't have any help around her. You could tell that by the way the ball was being held and everything that happened. And like I said, I mean, I've been voted captain of teams a couple times, and not once did I ever think, you know what, now's the time. But as Jay Michael told me on Twitter, leaders know when to talk. And maybe it doesn't matter if you're a kicker or a punter. Leaders know when to talk.
AJ seems like a big halftime speech.
Well, Jay Michael fucking has never been in a football locker room before. That is, I'm just letting him know. By the way, the amount of courage it had to have taken for her to speak, like I'm incredibly jealous of and envious of, because I played for a long time and I never did it. AJ, I'd assume you didn't even talk at halftime, right?
No, nobody talked at halftime.
Yeah. It is. Hey, everybody's brains just got busted. Oh, man.
Hell, she's wearing number 32. Maybe stick her in the backfield. Give her the damn ball. See if they can put some points on the board.
Now, Vandy football stinks. So if you guys want to bang and make fun of Vanderbilt football, like that's cool with me because they stink or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Sarah Fuller reaction was terrible. And then I heard she give a halftime speech, and I was like, Sarah, come on, you're giving people a lot of ammo here. We don't need it. I think you're awesome. Let's keep it moving. All right, let's get to some.
Hey, hold on. Was she asked by a coach to give that halftime speech?
See, that is a piece that we needed to know because she was asked to kick. She didn't ask to kick. That's why I don't think it's a publicity stunt. She was asked to do it. Okay, so she didn't go, hey, I just won the SEC championship as a goalie for the Vanderbilt soccer team. Now I should go kick for our terrible football team. She didn't do that. They were like, hey, we need somebody. The entire special teams unit was out, including the coach, by the way, as more news starts going in. They needed her. And that's kind of how it all played out.
And apparently a coach said that he wishes that, he had said that at some point or wanted to say that.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't a coach who asked her or else he wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
The coach was actually fired shortly after.
All right, Gumpy. All right, let's go to Zach in Jersey. Zach, what's going on, bub? That's tough. She didn't know. She didn't have anybody around her.
Hey, made history, though.
She did make history.
Hey! How about that?
It was awesome. But, I mean, the ball was leaning the wrong way. It was obvious that nobody had a single ounce of like, hey, let's help her out in them. You know
she'll be all right.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Didn't go out of bounds. Didn't give up a touchdown. Keep it moving, dude.
You can see the ball right there. You can see the ball leaning towards her.
Yeah, it's leaning the wrong way. I mean,
would there ever be a scenario where she would want it like that though, to kick that little mortar she did?
Yeah. No.
Like a pooch, right? Couldn't you onside recover one of those?
Yeah. Yep, I don't think so. Not towards you normally. There's nobody was there to help her, is what I'm saying. And that's not her fault either. But the halftime speech, I mean, if she just said, you know what, and just stood up on the goddamn thing. Everybody listen up, all right? This is what we're going to do. I just won a championship. You guys fucking stink. What if she did do that? What if she was up there? She was like, listen. This team is the laughing stock of our fucking university. Like, if she gave that speech, I'd be like, okay, let's go. Yeah. She should be the head coach immediately. So maybe we shouldn't judge completely until we get the entire transcript of the speech. But
careful up there. It's fight week.
It is fight week.
Good dismount.
I was ready to go. The body's ready, dude. Mentally and physically, I'm ready to go to war. I wouldn't box because you can't use your legs or your body. That'd be kind of stupid. But what's going on, Zach?
Hey, Pat. How you doing?
Not too shabby, man. What do you want to talk about?
So I just finished volunteering coaching for an eighth grade team down here in Jersey, and got a kid who's looking for tips on how to be a long snapper. Any tips you got?
Yeah, just go ahead and throw that thing, man. Let's go to Sam in North Carolina.
That guy in Germany?
Jersey. No, it's just reps, dude. It's just something you got to practice. Everybody have their own stroke, dude. You just got to get down there and practice. It's a reps thing. Trial and error, big time. What's that?
Don't you think the easiest? That's something you can do by yourself. Put a spot on the wall and snap at it 7,000 times a day.
Yeah, that's whenever I started seeing long snappers do that, I was like pumped for them for having a drill finally. You know what I mean? Because there for a long time it was just them snapping it to each other, and then I saw like targets start to get placed. I'm like, God, this is good. You guys got a drill. Yeah. That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, but if you're going to be good at it, it's going to take a lot of reps. It's kind of like a muscle memory thing that you have to get into. So it's just repetition. And you're also going to have to be good with blood rushing to your head and still being able to perform, and also knowing that if you make one fuck up, you're probably fired. All right, here we go. What do you want to talk about, Sam in North Carolina?
Hey, Pat. Hey, AJ. Hey, the boys. Appreciate you guys taking my call. First things first is I want to thank AJ personally for getting me pulled out of Spanish class in 7th grade when my dad surprised me with tickets to go to the Lombardi Trophy celebration at Lambeau. So without a Super Bowl win, I was unable to do that. So
Aquí estamos, mi amigo. Sí, AJ. Hola.
It's great. It was a very cold day, too. You probably would have rather been in your classroom.
It was chilly out there?
Doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, it was absolutely freezing.
Were you blacked out? You were
totally
blacked
worth
out? AJ, you were blacked out, yeah?
No, I wasn't blacked out. I was on my way to surgery, so I was giving left-handed high fives.
Blacked out. That's tough, dude. That's tough. No, I can't drink going into surgery.
Why?
Yeah.
Really?
Why?
Going
You can't even get a
hammered drunk.
tattoo. You can barely get a tattoo if it's a legit place.
You can't eat before
You're
you
a
gotta
fuck-
change the doctor rules.
Let's go to Sam in North. Sam, what do you want to talk about, man?
Hey guys,
Change
so
it.
I know that it is Monday, so we need to overreact to some things, and I appreciate you guys already talking about the Tom Brady, Bruce Arians situation in Tampa Bay, because I got some things I need to say about it.
Oh, here we go.
Not that my-
Good luck. Let's go, Sam.
Not that my word means anything, but last season in Tampa Bay, they had Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston threw for 5,100 yards and 33 touchdowns.
It's a lot of yards, dude.
Put him in.
Before LASIK.
Like, now,
No.
downside of that, he had 30 picks as well. And the narrative around Jameis is poor decision-making, and he's an inaccurate thrower. Now, Tom Brady needs two hands to hold all his Super Bowl rings. And I don't think the Tom Brady narrative has ever been that he's an inaccurate thrower or makes reads. Or makes bad reads, I should say.
Depending on his hands.
So,
they're huge. They're pretty big rings now.
in Tampa Bay, I think the problem is Bruce Arians. And coming out after all of these past few games where he just kind of shits on Tom Brady, he is saying things like, oh, the chemistry's not there and they need to mesh together better, the QB and the receiving core. It's week 12. How are things not meshed together?
Great question there, Sam. So, long road to blaming Bruce Arians, which goes back to our McDaniels conversation. I wonder how locked in BA is, because you got to remember, 2020, interesting year. And I think, with David Caldwell getting fired down there in Jacksonville, who Michael Lombardi calls David Blaine Caldwell, because he's done so many magic tricks to save his goddamn job, because he's had nothing but failure down there as a GM or whatever. Because remember, Tom Coughlin was there while David Caldwell was there at the same time. So, I mean, there's a lot of failure that has happened down there in Jacksonville. And coming up after this year, they have like $100 million in cap space. They have a bunch of picks. They have 2 1s, 2 2s. I mean, that's a job I think that's going to be highly sought after for GM. And you have an owner who has a lot of money and will spend a lot of money. So, I mean, that feels like that's a place. Now, you're going to have to get a quarterback, which you're in the running with only 1 win so far. I mean, that's a job that's going to be tempting, but I didn't expect as much movement in the 2020 season because of how there was no offseason, there's no meeting times, guys aren't even allowed to eat lunch together in the locker room. It's a year where it's tough to judge what is actually good and what's bad. But this year, it feels like with some teams having success and playing well and some teams playing terrible, a lot of owners have been like, well, you could be like them and you're not. You're gone. You've sucked for a while. This is the year we're going to make the change. It's been interesting to kind of see that. Bruce Arians, will he get fired? I have no idea. Will he ride off into the sunset like he's done before? I have no idea, but that's an interesting conversation that is being had, not just by us, by the way.
Well, my question would be, how much longer do they go like this? Like, let's say they lose a couple more games. They have 4 more. They lose, 2 out of the next 4, and their offense never really seems to click. Do people start to blame Bruce or Tom? Like, I guess that is a good question. Maybe a poll question for Zito someday. Do people blame Bruce or Tom more for their lack of success?
Last 4 games after the bye, they got Vikings, Falcons, Lions, Falcons. Okay, so those are all winnable games. Now, just as we were talking about David Caldwell there, The Lions obviously are without Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, the GM and the head coach. That's already 3 jobs that are open. You talk about Houston, there's 5 jobs that are already open. The Jets, you assume that's going to be a clean sweep. There's 7 jobs that are open already. Chargers probably with Anthony. Oh my fucking God, Anthony Lynn.
Comes all back around.
So many things yesterday.
Tony Lynn.
Bro. The Browns thing, bang, in the head, 4th and 10. Give him extension. Browns don't cover. Even though I didn't want the Browns, Gumpy gave me the Browns. Can't back off the Browns because the Browns win. I'm the idiot that backed off of a bet that I was forced to take by Gumpy, so I was forced to take it. Browns don't cover because of that. Shout out to you, Gumpy. We lost together, though, so it was not your fault. But in my eyes, you potentially fucked me a little bit. Okay? Chargers. Okay? Now the Chargers, somehow, their time management, and this has not been just yesterday, by the way. Okay, I think whenever you bet on the Chargers, you're betting on the fact that Herbert is the truth. You're like, this kid, for whatever reason, he's going to be in games. He's very good. And yesterday, whenever they were leading down before half, Anthony Lynn let like 15 to 16 seconds go off, then called a timeout, and it got down to like 20 seconds or whatever. It was like, oh, okay, that's a shit decision there. Can't get worse than that. And he's like, just wait. 4th quarter comes around. They throw a 4th and 27 deep ball. Okay, they're down 10 or whatever at this time. 4th and 27 deep ball. No timeouts. They sprint up there. They run a draw. Okay, instead of spiking the clock there, you have first down inside the 5-yard line at this point. Instead of spiking the ball, let's regather here. Okay, let's get some time. Let's go ahead and set this whole thing up. They run a draw. Tackled inbounds, obviously short. Clock's still running. We're not going to spike it yet either. Oh, it's going to be a delayed spike. I'm going to throw it in the ground over here. Then with 6 seconds left, the game is over. Now you're not in it. We're going to line up in shotgun, go under center, and the only person that's going to think this is a quarterback sneak is the quarterback. Everybody else is going to pass that. We're going to die, and we're not going to cover the 4 and fucking half that we should have covered. And there's been multiple situations over there where decisions are made by players, and it's like, is that them? Is that the coach? And it's happened so many times. And the Chargers have lost so many games this year that they should have won that they just kind of pissed away. I would assume that job has to be open.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Well, when you continue to make mistakes like that, like they've continued to fumble through games they should win. Yeah, coaches can only do so much. But when it happens time and time again, of course, the blame's going to go to the head coach. And Anthony Lynn is the guy fielding all of that heat right now. But I hope at least you took the Titans in the over, like I told you. That one hit.
I did take the Titans, by the way. I did take the Titans, strictly because DeForest Buckner was out. So DeForest Buckner's out. That's problematic, especially for the way the Titans play, which is right up the gut. So that wasn't like even a shot at the Colts. It was looking at the injury report and being like, this is not a good day to have that guy out. Like, if we're playing against another team that wasn't the Tennessee Titans, I would say, okay, without DeForest Buckner, Colts are going to be okay. But against the Tennessee Titans, the middle of your line just has to be steady. Like, it just has to be sturdy. It has to make a difference. So whenever you lose that guy, it's gone. And all the local people, I talked about this in the first hour, they're talking about depth at the D-line. It's like you can have as much depth as you want. If you don't have DeForest Buckner, your defense is going to be very different.
It's like the Chicago Bears defense, how much different it is without Akeem Hicks.
Yeah.
Like, what do you...
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they quit?
I don't know if they quit. They might just be mentally and physically exhausted of trying to carry that team. That's what it feels like.
I think so, too. And it's easy to do that, by the way, because the humans are involved. But let's remember, they get paid kids ransom play, kids game. Hey, fucking every snap counts, all right? Could be your last one. I would love to know what Chuck is drumming up for the next speech. Chuck is awesome, man. Chuck, I bet you those players love Chuck, if I had to guess. But I bet you Chuck is even at the point of potentially, all right, what do we go this week to get these boys back into it? Listen, Mitch Trubisky, he looks good, doesn't he? Hey, you look good this week. Let's go ahead and fucking go for it, boys.
Do you think there's a chance they hire in-house and stick with Pagano?
I wonder. It's very interesting because if Khalil Mack wants out, which I don't know if he said that, if there's rumblings, that might be a complete overhaul and probably go somebody young. If I had to guess. I don't know if Chuck wants to be a head coach. I've never talked to him about it, but I feel like that's potentially a young job, maybe, especially if you're going to get.
Wouldn't you think it's an offensive coach's job too?
Yeah, I mean maybe, dude. Who knows with the Bears, dude? Hey, when Ted Phillips is pulling the trigger up there, you don't know what that guy's going to do. Let's go to Josh in San Diego. What's going on, Josh?
I mean, fuck, you basically took my whole sequence there with the Chargers. I was going to ask you what the biggest problem was. By the way, shout out to you and the boys. Also told wifey this year to not make any fucking mashed potatoes, so definitely
Terrible decision.
overloaded on the stuff in Big Oos, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, Big Goose, I appreciate you, man. All right.
That's a good call.
My Oos.
Call it that.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. Yeah, I would assume Chargers fans are, because you see Herbert and you see how good he is, and you just went through this with Phillip Rivers, right? You saw how good Phillip Rivers was, and he never really got anywhere. So now you see Justin Herbert, and you're like, was it Phillip Rivers? Was it the coaching? Was it the team? Let's not let Justin Herbert's career get wasted here by stupidity.
Yeah, and they have Keenan Allen, they have Mike Williams, they have Austin Eckler, they have a good defense. Like, at some point, you got to kind of look.
That's probably a good-looking job.
Oh, it's a great looking job.
Probably the best looking one, right? With a top 5, top 10 pick in the bag,
It depends where Jacksonville lands in the draft order. Because if you have $100 million plus, you have 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and you have an owner like Jacksonville who will spend whatever. I mean, Shad Khan, I think he'll spend whatever, that guy.
Yeah.
He put 2 pools in his stadium to make, you know
Not
what I mean?
afraid.
He's not afraid to spend money. I feel like that job is a desirable place. But whenever you look at the Chargers roster, whenever it's LA, you got a whole new build. I mean, there's a lot of things over there. What were you about to say?
I was going to say that Herbert at least is known. Like, yeah, you might have this top pick where you get Fields or what's his name? Lawrence, but you don't know if they're exactly known. Like, Herbert's good.
Yeah, Herbert's really fucking good. He's awesome to watch, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's really awesome to watch.
The Chargers' job is an amazing gig. If Anthony Lynn does get fired, which I'm not saying he should, but Joey Bosa, you wasted a huge day Joey Bosa had yesterday as well. Like, you have a ton of young talent, and you have this window now with Herbert where you need to try to make a run here in the next 2-3 years.
Listen, I don't want to get anybody fired. Okay, everybody's got families. Anthony Lynn's a great coach. He'll get another job somewhere, and his family will have to move. That sucks, but it does feel as if he should probably or is probably going to get fired. You know what I mean? Feels like that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, but going back to you saying, are you trying to compare the Jags job to the Chargers as the head coach?
No, well, just full operation, I think. Well, because Tom Telesco, that's a great roster. I'd assume he's not going to get run out of town. Friend of the show, big brain guy. They have a great roster. So I would assume he's at least got another year or two with
And
probably.
he just drafted Herbert. I mean, that looks like a good move as well. So
Yeah.
Chiefs in the division, though.
Oh, yeah.
That is a downside.
Yeah. But also, Jags, you're wide open in there. I mean, who knows who's going to play quarterback for the Colts after this year? Deshaun Watson, he'll still be around. He's going to be tough, but, I mean, they don't have any draft picks or money. Tennessee Titans yesterday, if they run into a team that can't stop the run, they're going to be tough for anybody. So I think the Jags isn't that bad of a job. But it's going to be what? Head coach and GM. GM gets hired first and then you let the GM pick the head coach, or do you hire the head coach and ask him who he thinks should be the GM?
I think it depends, but normally the normal route is to hire the GM first and then.
I know normally, but if you were to run it, if you had a great head coach, I'd almost be like, hey, who could you work well with? Because it feels like if a GM and a head coach don't work well, I've seen this, okay, and not necessarily the Colts, but in the history of the NFL, if the GM and the head coach aren't on the same page, it's over. And it happens. It happens in the NFL a lot.
Absolutely. It happens all the time. Like, think about it. Because the GM, a lot of teams, the GM, he controls the roster. Hey, I bring guys in, I send guys away, whatever. I'm not in good GMs, if they do that, they stay out of the football. They don't go to the head coach in a staff meeting like, hey, you need to make sure this guy, he only had 12 snaps. He needs 24 to 26 snaps a game. Like, if you're doing that as the GM, like, I can imagine being the head coach, that'd get pretty old.
Last call here from Alex in Wisconsin. What's going on, Alex? That was small text. I feel good about it.
Hey, man, how's it going today?
Not too shabby, man. What do you want to talk about, brother? Got LASIK.
Hey, man, I just got a comment here. You know, you talked about it I believe sometime last week, quite frequently. Commentators in the NFL are insufferable. Okay. And, you know, I felt this way for a long time. You know, it really first hit me. There was a game last year. It was the Chiefs and the Texans, right? And I know you didn't, do any name dropping last week, but I got to do it here. And it was Dan Fouts calling a game. Okay, with the two best quarterbacks maybe in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, you got maybe the best player ever. You got a primetime game between Mahomes and Watson, and you got a guy who just has no idea about the modern NFL, no idea how to deliver it. We got millions of talented people all over the place, right? And we got some of these guys calling. Just because you have knowledge of the game doesn't mean you can deliver it, right? And it's sometimes I got to watch stuff muted because I just can't handle the comment. Because, one thing about sports fans, a lot of them are dumb. right? And when you feed them dumb information, they just run with it. Like a comment this
In the
week.
heat of dumb information.
Well, yeah, I mean, you make a comment. Kenyon Drake fumbled last week, I believe it was, or John, somebody, I think it was the Cardinals running back last week. And they're like, well, they put him right back out there after he fumbled. It's like, man, if we benched every single player every time they made a mistake, we would have no players.
Thanks for the call, Alex. When I did do that thing about the things, and didn't say anybody's name because I don't think it's necessarily the commentator's fault. I think it's the people that put them into positions to do that, and they just kind of have to buy in. That's why I didn't name any names, and I got attacked by some people for not naming names. It's like, all right, fuck you, but all right. You're part of the problem too, pal, who just came after me. Actually, I do believe there has to be better than what some of them are, but it's a hard job, AJ. It's not easy. Obviously, it's not easy.
It is not easy. When you had your little rant, I don't know if Dan Fouts was on the tip of your brain, though, as guys you were ranting at.
No, I forgot Dan Fouts calls games.
When he first started that, I was not expecting Dan Fouts to take a ricochet shot.
No, me neither. I did not expect Dan Fouts to take that. There are plenty of names he could have went with there. I did not expect
tons. Chiefs-Texans was actually game 1 of the season.
So, Alex,
what are you talking about?
He's been holding on to his grudge for a long time.
Yeah.
Candidate CBD has done it again, folks, and charged forward on solving the next biggest problem everyone has. Cost. Yeah. Candidates listened and have delivered from a $17.99 tin of dip tobacco-less dip to the new everyday low price of $9.99.
Wow.
You may ask yourself how. The answer is simple. They brought manufacturing in-house and built a facility in the heart of CBD, Humboldt County, California. Ooh. Same amazing product at new everyday low prices. Nothing has changed besides more capital in your pockets to win while betting on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah. Head to CandidapesCBD.com and use promo code LIPBOOMERS and get 15% off the new prices and enjoy affordable luxury. Once again, head to CandidapesCBD.com and use promo code LIPBOOMERS to take advantage of the new everyday low price. Quickly, Ty, why are these CBD pouches the best way to break the habit of chewing tobacco?
They taste good, it feels like a real chaw, and it doesn't have any of the harmful stuff that tobacco does.
It's great. It's CANNADIPS.com. Or CBD.com, and use promo code LIPBOOMERS for 15% off. About 30 seconds left here on SiriusXM. AJ, anything to say to the listeners?
Nothing today.
Tomorrow, some riveting response from AJ to that question will come. Chris Mad Dog Russo is next. Mad Dog Unleashed. His show will be much better than our show. Big thanks to Jarvis, Darius, all the callers, and all of you. We'll be back manana. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, SiriusXM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Actually, ended it. Hey, thank you.
Hey. Peace out, bro.
Thank you.
He's gone.
Have a good day.
Punch the clock right at.
Yeah, he did.
All right. How you doing, AJ?
I'm good. Hopefully that guy can still hear Ty talking about him, right?
Yeah, Ty did talk a little shit there. I assume he did hear that, and there's no reason for Ty to do that.
But no, we have one guy who does. He punches the clock right as the show's over. Right when he says goodbye, he's gone.
He does. I have learned that some people in this particular profession work around the radio, TV, everything like that. They're only there punching hours. Mm-hmm. We do not care about what's going on.
Brutal.
We do not care about what you have going on. We just want to let you know I'm here for 4 hours. If you want me, cool. If not, there is some blueberry muffins back there that I will go eat until I got to get the fuck out of here. And I respect it. I respect it a lot. You just got to do what you got to do. That guy didn't seem like that type of guy, though, and Ty tried to bury him. He did not deserve it.
Well, maybe the guy has to produce another show like right at 3 o'clock. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, Ty.
There's no way that's true because you got to do the test, at least 5-6 minutes before the thing.
Yeah,
There's
and if he's
no
working
way.
on this station, why would he just bounce over to some other station and produce another show?
Ty, you don't know. Ty,
I don't know.
We don't know
I don't
that.
know.
We don't know that.
I don't know.
We do know that he's probably not producing a show at 3 o'clock, though. I would assume. Maybe. What's that?
Probably a podcast.
Yeah, probably.
Perhaps.
I would guess if he's trying to cut it short, he's got something going on a couple minutes later.
All right, we hit all the ads today, right? We talked to Jarvis. We hit what Jarvis did. He served over 300 families.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So cool. In Cleveland. That's pretty cool of him.
Of course, he seems like he's a guy. If you're a receiver, and I'm glad you mentioned his speech during Hard Knocks. I remember watching. I was texting my brother. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, can you imagine how valuable a guy like this is in your receiver room? He's a star player, and he's holding his own room accountable. Like, that has a huge impact on the whole team.
Normally, player speeches are terrible. Okay? That's just how it goes.
98%.
Yeah. Maybe even higher than that. Out of all the speeches that I've given, it might be above 99. It might be 99.9995%. Terrible. And then the good ones, though, that shine through, you're like, okay, that was a good one. And that's even more so why somebody should have told Sarah, like, hey, Sarah, people have tried this already this year, dude. Don't do it. We're a cynical bunch, okay? Football, it's not a good crowd. This is not a good audience right now. Like, somebody should have told her that. I don't think it's her fault, but you get it. Moving on. When he gave that speech, that's why I asked him about it, because it felt like it was one speech that didn't just like the whole room go, oh, fuck this guy. It felt like a real speech, and that's very rare, I feel like, these days.
Because it was authentic. Like, the coach didn't make him do it. It didn't feel like he was doing it for the cameras. It seemed real. So if you're a young guy, how could you not pay attention to that?
I agree.
Have you guys been in a locker room like halftime or even after the game where a speech happened and you were like, okay, I actually respect that, and also where you didn't respect it?
Andrew Luck gave one after we lost in England to Jacksonville, and it was the first time he really ever did that. That wasn't his thing, but he gave like a speech after that loss. I think that was, I guess I've heard a couple other in the past, but that one sticks out to me because Andrew never did that. And when he did it, I was like, okay, Andrew, like, all right, here we go. Now, granted, we got like a 15-hour trip going, or a 10-hour trip back, and I have to eat all these edibles I have in my bag right now. But I like, that was one that I was like, okay, here we go. Robert Mathis has given one before, that like made me feel like, okay, here we go. Peyton obviously used to give them that were good, but boy, in between those ones that you remember, there's probably 20 to 30 ones that you're just like, all right, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And that happens. You got to step in the batter's box, I guess, to get a hit, but there's a lot of curveballs coming down the pipe, it feels like, because there's a lot of missing. A lot of fucking missing in those things.
Lots of missing. Julius Peppers gave a great one. Julius never really ever spoke. Like, and if he did, you listened. And Julius gave a speech before a game one time to everybody, and it was awesome. Like, we were all, and Julius started getting so into it, we were all so shocked to see him speaking so much. We were late to get out to, like, introductions. We're like, all right, I got to go. You know how you have, like, the I don't know, chief of staff and all the people around. They're like, all right, let's go. Wrap it up. Trying to like clap him off, and Julius was not having it. He was going to finish. It was awesome.
There was I didn't get to participate in the team prayer that happened before games because I was out on the field warming up normally. There was one game where the Holy Spirit was chatty, and the boys almost missed the kickoff. I was out on the field. Me and Vinatieri were out on the field kicking balls. It was down in Houston. In the refs, I think it might have been Sterator. I don't know. He's like, Pat, where the fuck is your team? I'm like, they were in there when we left. They were in there. They were in there. And then they came running out. They missed the intro or whatever. Straight to the coin toss, straight to the kickoff. They came out late. But I asked them, like, what was going on? They were like, long prayer, man. That person would never pray again.
Jesus Christ, cutting it close.
Well, I don't believe it was Jesus. I believe it was the person trying to knock on his door. The person giving the speech was doing a full
wasn't
it wasn't answering. Let's get louder, longer. We need more words type thing. And I think he did answer because we did win. So
nice. There we go.
Jesus did hear him at some point, but it took a little bit to get there. But yeah, long prayer almost interrupted the entire game. It was awesome. They were in there whenever I left. Fucking right down there. It's crazy, dude. Let's go to Joey in New York. What's going on, Joey?
Hey, Pat, boys, AJ, how are you?
Hey, not too shabby. How are you?
Good, great. Expected a dub on Sunday, so let's go. And also wanted to
no yelling on the bus.
Wanted to talk to you about the Daniel Jones injury. The Giants, give me an early birthday present. They pull out a W yesterday, 3 in a row, first time in forever it feels like. And then Daniel Jones shreds his hamstring like a pulled pork sandwich. What I want
Hold on, Joey. Go ahead, Diggs, with an update. I believe there's a fact check coming immediately after you spoke.
Yeah, he underwent tests on his hamstring today, and sources say he did avoid major injury. He has an outside chance of playing Sunday.
Ooh. Okay, so he didn't shred his hamstring to pieces, Joey. Jesus Christ, over there.
If you listen to the news this morning, it was pretty bad, quote unquote. So who even knows what that means?
Whoa. Yeah, true. Joe, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you got misled. It happened to us just last week by a media person. They had us announce something that was very, very, very bad.
Oh, yeah.
Turns out it was wrong, but it ended up being right. But it was still bad.
They clickbaited us all. It happened.
Yeah, bingo. Joey, what do you want to talk about?
Well, what I want to ask is, will Colt Cabana McCoy bring a division title to the Swamps of South Jersey this year?
Great question, Joey. A lot of people didn't know Colt McCoy's still in the NFL, I don't think.
No.
But congrats to all of us. He's still slinging it.
Oh, yeah.
Colt McCoy, by the way, good guy, nice guy. I met him down at the College Football Playoff Awards show my senior year, and he was up for something. And Tim Tebow, obviously, he was winning everything because he was that dude. And Tim Tebow had like a team of some people around him because he just got done doing everything. And we were all kind of like in this other spot, And I asked Colt why he didn't have his entire thing. And he gave a hilarious response. It was like a very quick, hilarious response. Not mean to anybody, but just like a self-deprecating type thing. You know what I mean? I think he's a good guy. And that's literally my only interaction with him. But I remember that quick thing. I'm like, oh, so Colt's not an asshole. Okay, good. And he's played for so long, been a backup for so long. Now he's getting a chance to play for the Giants. Good for old Colt McCoy. He must be a great practice team quarterback.
Yeah, and I think that teams and coaches feel comfortable if they do have to put him in. I mean, the Giants aren't screwed. Like, they're okay. So Daniel Jones, though, the caller, whatever his name was, he's right. Like, they acted like this dude tore both hamstrings off the bone. It might be a career ender, and there's a chance that he may play. That means he barely even pulled his hamstring.
Outside chance on Sunday.
Outside chance, probably not then, right? He's probably out for a week.
Against Seattle.
Jones is tough, dude. Yeah,
Jones is tough, dude. He'll
he
play through
ripped
some
both
pain.
of his hamstrings off his legs, and then today they get an MRI, and they're back on.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like Superman, dude.
Suiting up.
Where's the
Isn't
cape?
that like
Daniel Giant.
It's like Hugh Jackman. Doesn't he do that in his movies?
Yeah, Wolverine, dude. His bones regenerate.
That movie stinks.
Whoa.
Pat, I know you watched Queen's Gambit.
What is that, Wolverine? One,
Pat,
two,
you like? Hey, hold on. You like Queen's Gambit, right?
Loved it, dude. Close Sicilian, bro. I fucking knock your pawns out. No problem at all.
Well, there's another show. I've only seen the first 2 episodes on HBO Max. It's what's her name? Tom Cruise's ex-wife.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Great movie. What's it called?
The
Undoing.
The Undoing.
The Undoing. It's a 6-episode miniseries.
Oh, so it's like Queen's Gambit.
A little bit.
I'm on The Crown now.
Really? How is it?
It's fucking awesome.
It's a history lesson, isn't it?
It is awesome. I don't know how accurate it is, but if it is,
they're fighting it now. They're fighting it over there. The
Royal family.
They're mad. They're saying like, oh, it's a complete work of fiction. It's a beautiful fictional art piece. I'm like, well, yeah, because you're like exposing a little bit of what's been happening. Who knows how much truth there is to it, but it's good. It's pretty entertaining.
This is what I've learned early. Okay, when grandmama talks, nobody fucks around. All right. When grandmama opens her mouth, everybody's like, oh, well, that's the actual queen there. Now, I was the queen before when my husband was the king, obviously, and I passed that on, blah, blah, blah. But when grandmama talks, everything stops. And I'll tell you what, the queen's husband, who I still don't know his fucking name, and I'm pretty far along in it. Is that his name? He's a fucking piece of shit, this guy.
Yeah.
He's an absolute bum of a guy. I mean, I know, granted, that was 100 years ago when the queen was a child or whatever, but he was an absolute bum. I got a lot of thoughts on these royals, by the way. They love going shooting, though, by the way. The ducks in England must be aplenty because those motherfuckers are getting shot down every morning by every king, and it is insane. But I've really got into it. I like The Crown a lot, yeah.
I've seen a good amount of it. I think it teaches you a lot about like how it all happened, like how she became the queen with her dad dying. Like it was cool to see.
She's awesome. I'm a big fan of hers. Now she should not be upset. As far as I've learned here thus far, she should not be upset at all. They make her look very, very good. It's kind of everybody else that kind of looks like shit. Now that might change. I guess I'm 3 seasons behind still, so I got a lot to watch. Plus now I got to fit in the unfolding or whatever. The thought of being able to watch all this stuff is going to be difficult, but I'll find time. I will find a way for sure.
Good for you. Yeah, I saw the first couple episodes of that Nicole Kidman show, and I was like, I'm hooked, man. I want to see the rest.
What's it about?
It's weird, man. What's his name? The British actor is her husband.
Intrigue, drama.
The internet's buzzing about it. I see
In
it
a
all
court
over the
case.
place.
Is it real?
Yeah, like girl shows up dead.
Based on the book.
Yeah.
Shows up.
As far as I'm into it, girl shows up dead. Husband disappears a little bit. Nicole Kidman's a little bit surprised. Doesn't know what's happening. All kind of chaos ensues.
What is Nicole Kidman? Is she a detective, a family friend?
She's the wife of the guy who goes missing for a few days and then gets.
Please have some respect
where I'm
for
at
Hugh
right now.
Grant,
He is.
Jay.
They say that he murdered this lady.
Hugh Grant, the guy from fucking P.S. I Love You.
That's
Jerry Butler.
Close though. Hugh Grant. Of course.
P.S.
Dude, you know what PSI love.
You know what PSI Love You is, dude. The guy from 300. Fucking
Yeah, Leonidas.
Leonidas.
Law-abiding citizen.
Law-abiding citizen.
Gerard
Great.
Butler, but law-abiding citizen. That is an underappreciated movie. It's really good.
First time I watched it was the night before we had a game. I don't know if it was like a 4:00 game or whatever. But I watch Saturday Night Live every Saturday night before games, and then I'd take an Ambien and I'd pass out, and then I'd sleep until I have to leave, and then I'd go, right? So it didn't matter what time the game was, though. I was trying to sleep all the way up until like 3.5 hours before it. I'm going to eat, hop on an early bus, and we're going to do the game. Even if it's a night game. Like I'm waking up, I'm having breakfast, then I'm trying to fall back asleep again. It's just going to be the same goddamn thing. The night before one game, I watched that Law-Abiding Citizen for the first time. I was up till maybe 5, 6 a.m. It was just fun. That was a rush, that show.
The brain.
Absolute rush, that whole thing. I'm like, this guy is an assassin out here. How do you light the whole goddamn thing on fire? That's wild he did that. What a talented guy.
Tunnels he had set
plans.
up.
Oh,
Yeah, it took him a long time.
Hey, don't fuck with my family. He said.
That's right. I got rid of flip phones just because of that movie.
Blew up, dude. See you later. How you doing? Keep moving. And Jamie Foxx is a terrible attorney. I would never want him. Did you see Power? That's another one Jamie Foxx was in. I feel like Jamie Foxx got paid a lot of money to be in that movie. A lot of money to be in that movie.
Power was a series, right? Like a show?
Still is.
Well, maybe, but that's with 50 Cent. Jamie Foxx is in Power on Netflix. It's about this pill that basically you take it and you don't know if it's going to turn you into a monster or if it's going to make you like the smartest human of all time, and people rolling the dice. Anyway, the movie kind of sucked, but it was Jamie Foxx. I watched it strictly because Jamie Foxx is on it. I'm like, oh, Jamie's on this. It's going to be good. Movie's kind of garbage. Maybe the only miss Netflix has ever had.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
That and all the Sandler movies. Project Power is what it's called.
Come on. No.
Well, also, there was a movie called Hard Kill.
Fuck you with what you said about Adam Sandler.
It's also, don't forget Bright. That movie stunk.
Hey, watch Kevin Hart. I
was
like
good,
that.
The No Fucks Given? Zero Fucks Given. Hey, he turned heel.
Yeah.
Turned heel in there. Heel Kevin Hart is awesome.
I need to watch that. I heard it's good.
He's not like, hey, I'm here to entertain. I'm like the dancing clown up here. It isn't like that. No. It's completely heel turn. Here we go. Fuck yeah, it's awesome to watch Kevin Hart turn heel, to be honest with you. Steve in Texas, what's going on? Just Steve Austin?
What? Hello?
What?
Oi, Pat, how's it going, brother?
Hey, Steve, how's it going? We were just wondering if this was potentially Steve Austin down there in Texas.
Oh, man, I wish I could never drink a Coors Light as fast as that king.
Yeah, 2 of them, by the way. They're going down the same damn time. What do you want to talk about, Steve?
Hey, brother. Well, I'm a Cowboys fan, and the last 24 years have been just, God. I feel for Foxy back there with the Lions.
Yeah, similar, by the way.
But, man, I had a question. Just thinking, Indy looks really good this year. They just seem to be kind of not all the way able to put it together. Do you think if Dak Prescott gets on the franchise tag, he could possibly be traded to the Colts? Cowboys could get some picks. Indy could make a Super Bowl run. Maybe package it with a Michael Gallup deal from Dallas.
Hey, Steve, I feel like you've thought that one out, and I appreciate the. By the way, he can't listen because if we're not on Sirius anymore, unless he's watching it on YouTube, he will not be able to hear this answer. So shout out to Steve for asking that question.
Boy, Steve.
Attaboy, Steve. Shout out to you,
Cowboys.
I don't know what Chris Ballard's going to do next year. They currently have $50 million being spent on 2 quarterbacks, and Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett, or $45 million or whatever. If Phillip Rivers doesn't continue next year and Jacoby's contract is up, I'll be intrigued to see what Chris Ballard chooses to do with that Colts team because the defense is set. The offensive line is set. They're going to have to figure out some weapons, I think, still. But next year for the Colts is one big question mark.
Why don't is there a chance they could go after a guy like Matt Stafford?
Yeah, could potentially, or Aaron Rodgers, by the way. Go after Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Maybe offer up old Gunther Kuntz some delicious package that he can't pass up. We know he likes good first round trade bait. You know what I mean? That's what Gunther Kuntz has proved to us. Maybe getting Aaron or Rodgers or something.
Brady.
Sam Darnold, maybe.
In a couple of years, maybe.
What's that?
Years. Well, I mean, shit, the guy, he's MVP leading candidate right now. You ride it until the wheels fall off.
No.
Until he decides that he's done.
That is what you would do, right?
What we would do.
What you're saying is 100% right. That is what we're hoping like Chris Ballard will think about doing. You know what I mean? Is, hey, we got a guy that's the MVP over here, and they're trying to push him out of the building as fast as possible. And not to drive to practice, by the way. They're trying to push him out of the building just to not be a member of the organization anymore. We got Jordan Love. So if the Colts were to, call up and say, hey, Gunther Kuntz, you're looking to move on, aren't you? And Gunther Kuntz will go, how do you know that? I'm like, well, you traded into the first round to get a fucking quarterback after going to the NFC Championship and have the greatest quarterback on your team already. So obviously and Gunther Kuntz go, oh, that's interesting. Put us a little package together. And Chris Bauer goes, oh, we got this pick. We got this pick. We can maybe do a little bit of this. You get rid of Aaron's contract, huh? And the problem, I mean, he's so good. He's kind of problematic for your quarterback situation you want to go. He's so good.
Yeah, you're right.
But you guys won, and Gunther Kuntz would be like, yeah, fucking pull the trigger. And LaFleur would be like, no. And Gunther Kuntz would say, hey, LaFleur, you already talked about adding a weapon, LaFleur trade. Shut the fuck up. We don't have anything to say to you, pal. That's what Gunther Kuntz would do. And then all of a sudden, boom,
Deal.
Aaron Rodgers, Indianapolis Colts quarterback with a great defense, add a couple weapons in the offseason. All of a sudden, we got a whole new ball game. Ain't that right, Ty? It's a whole new world for everybody.
I mean, that probably is what's going to happen. But if he plays like this, do you think they could realistically get rid of him? Like, if he continues to play like this and does again next year, is there any way that they could get rid of him?
Did you think they?
I didn't think there was.
Well, no, I didn't. But
that's what I'm saying. What's that, AJ?
No, if he plays like this next year and you get rid of him, are you kidding me? Like, if something happens next year.
But then what in his play previously has indicated that he wasn't going to play like this? That's what makes
And why
no
did they
sense.
draft Jordan Love?
Exactly.
I feel like they have a little bit different version of reality than seems like every other human that watches the Green Bay Packers, which is not good, by the way. It's not a great thing.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea what they're thinking. Like, when you try to put some rational thought to it, I can't figure it out.
Still can't. Because look at Lazard, right? Lazard comes back. That offense is just a whole new thing. Imagine if it didn't matter if somebody got hurt and they had another weapon on the team.
Will Fuller.
Chase Claypool was potentially available then at the time.
And you have 12 rookie wide receivers.
Yeah, and then on the defensive side, what if you're able to have Patrick Queen there, who would have still been if you want to trade? I mean, there's a lot of what ifs, But if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, something would be a better play.
I mean, if they wanted just a backup quarterback who can't hit the net, they could have traded for Mason Rudolph.
He's not even a backup quarterback.
He's not the backup.
He's the third string.
Yeah, third string.
Dress for a game.
He's Keegan. He's the kid from Denver. That's who. That's who Jordan Love is.
Yeah. Keegan Hinton.
Him.
Yeah.
Did you see them congratulating him after that game? It was like he won the goddamn game while he was walking on the field. Now it was just like, listen, I understand. Okay, you stayed alive. You completed a pass and we got through this game or whatever. But you just lost by 28 fucking points. I mean, I don't understand what's going on in that locker room over there.
It's Kendall, by the way.
Who? What?
Kendall.
Of course it is, dude. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
Should have signed David Blau.
They should have signed David Blau.
I do think the thought for the Broncos is, hey, look, Tom Brady lost 38-3 through 3 picks. We only lost 31-3. You only threw 2 picks. Kind of a win-win when you think about it in the Broncos.
The Broncos got completely screwed. Okay, we all know it. The Ravens game has been postponed a few times because of active positives continuing to roll out in that organization. So you got to move the game, then you got to move the game, you got to move the game. The Broncos find out less than 12 hours before the game that they had to sprint off the field. I was told the Broncos quarterbacks were told to sprint off the field because they were danger, high risk. COVID potential contact tracing. They were in the walkthrough. They were doing the walkthrough. Get out. See you later. You can't play. And then the Broncos are like, whoa, what are we doing here? Like, you got to figure it out. And they're like, well, can we activate a coach? Nope, can't do it. So we got to sign a guy we never fucking heard of to play quarterback? Yep, that's what you got to do. What about the Ravens? Don't you ask about the Ravens situation. Shut up, Vic. They had no chance. But afterwards, I did not love I don't know, man. Just different these days, I guess. It's different.
Yeah, they got COVID.
One of those it didn't feel like one of those moral victory games either.
No. Nothing went good. Nothing went well. Taysom threw for 14 yards, and you guys lost by 28.
The doors blown off.
I mean, it's just like
just a weird.
You had a gunslinger like Jameis standing on the sidelines watching that yesterday.
Oh, are you saying there's a quarterback controversy down in New Orleans?
There should be.
Oh, Gumpy. I did not know that was brewing.
Wait till next game. He's not going to get any better now. The book's out.
What's the book?
Taysom.
What does the book say?
Can't do it.
He's 2-0. Have a little respect. 4 touchdowns, couple games. It does feel like Kamara has not existed when Taysom Hill is coming in, which is wild and weird because you would think the threat of another runner would help out Kamara. It hasn't for whatever reason. Michael Thomas, big first game with Taysom, not so much yesterday. Let them. They got to win, okay, by 4 touchdowns. All right, let's let them enjoy that and then see if we want to call for Taysom Hill's head. Speaking of calling for head, Zito, what does the poll say so we can get out of here before Hammer Don begins in 12 minutes?
Yep. We have Who's Next today, or Who's Next? Doug Marrone, 8.6%. Anthony Lynn, 17%. Matt Nagy, 27.3%. And Adam Gase, 47.1%.
Gase was not going to get fired in the middle of the season, though. I think that has been established and proven. Yeah, we need to lose all these games. Let's keep him around.
Below the comments, a lot of people are asking for Zach Taylor.
Yeah, that guy, Schefter said he hasn't heard anything. How does he sneak by these guys? You know why? Because the conversation can't harvest because they don't have an indoor practice facility. Oh, yeah. Which is where that conversation would start at. All right. Thank you, Zito. Thank you, AJ. We appreciate the hell out of you, man.
Thanks, guys. Tomorrow, Aaron will be on. Should be in a good mood, huh?
Hey, I'm going to be down in Florida tomorrow through the rest of the week because I got to go do a physical tomorrow to make sure I am available to survive a cage match happening on Sunday. I'm in a cage match on Sunday. Hey, I'm in a cage match on Sunday.
Let's go.
Dude, look at this guy. You think I'm ready?
Is it a pay-per-view?
Yeah, Sunday night. War games, bub.
War games.
War games. Me and the boys going that Undisputed Era in there. You know what I mean? You think I feel good? This is the lightest I've been in a long time, by the way. The knees feel good. The knees feel very, very good. Feel like I could fly around, potentially kick some heads off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on.
But I've watched a couple of the War Games matches back. A lot of shit's going to happen in there, I think. A lot of shit's going to happen in there. I don't know if I fully understood what I was signing up for, but I ain't going to fucking lose, I'll tell you that. I will tell you that, AJ.
I can't wait to see you bust Adam Cole's head open off the steel cage.
Bang it up! Bang it up! Bang it up! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. One of those. So I'll be down in Florida. So you and I will be FaceTiming with the boys here at the studio. Should be a good time.
Are you going? Oh, you're going down. You're not taking the whole studio and doing all the show down there?
No. So I got a physical tomorrow morning that's going to run close to when the show starts, and that's on property there. So I'm setting up a studio on property there, and I get tested normally 2 times a week, but now I'm going to get tested every single night. So the boys would have to get into the COVID protocol down there. It's a full thing. So I'm going to be, I think from what I've learned, I'm going to be in a massive room all by myself, basically, screaming into a camera on FaceTime to the boys and to you for the next few days. Should be an absolute blast if I had to guess.
I can't wait. It sounds awesome. I would love to be the people standing outside that room hearing you just yell into the camera.
No, that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. Yeah, I'll be excited to see how this all plays out, to be honest.
Yeah.
Tech-wise, I don't even know. I think I'll be able to answer phones because I'll have this thing. So I'll be able to answer phones down there. I'll be able to throw the music down there. I'll be able to do a lot of things, I guess. But we'll see how it goes, man. We shall see how it goes.
You'll figure it out.
Should be a good week.
Should be a good week.
Even better Sunday.
Bro, fucking cage match. Just go ahead and watch those back if you get time. Just go ahead and look up War Games and see what happens in there. It is.
When I think of cages, I just think of old little, mini Vince jumping off doing flips off the cages.
So, mini Vince. All right.
Shane O'Mac. My
Shane,
bad.
yeah. He said mini Vince. But there's 2 rings with 2 cages around them. Okay? So rings are connected. You have 2 rings, and then it's like one, I guess, considered 2 cages, I guess, but it's one big ass. It is a monstrosity of a thing that I believe, listen, everywhere I go, let's act as if. Okay, so if I'm commentating a game, like, all right, I'm here, let's go ahead and act as if, right? If I'm wrestling, like, okay, I'm wrestling, let's act as if. Whenever I was punting, like, okay, here we go, let's act as if. Stand-up comedy, business, everything. When I look at that thing, I think there will be quite a moment where I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing here, dude?" All right, let's just go in there. We're supposed to be here.
We go.
We're supposed to go into this thing.
Yeah.
You ain't scared of nothing.
Uh-uh.
And then I think whenever that thing shuts behind me, there's gonna be a chance where it's like, "All right, what the fuck are we?" Let's go ahead and put the body through fucking hell for at least 20, 30 minutes.
Hell yeah.
And let's get this win. So it should be a fun night Sunday night.
I can't wait to watch, man. Do I have to have WWE Network to get it?
Yeah. I do. I don't know if it's still free for new subscribers or not. I have no idea.
It's on his phone.
You can say it.
Yeah, WWE Network free for new subscribers Sunday night. I don't know what the Sunday. By the way, it might not be true. I don't know what the Sunday night football game is, but if you want to pull up on your phone, I'm sure the boys will keep you updated on when shit's about to pop off on that thing.
I think it's Steelers and Washington football team.
Okay, so halftime, that thing's about over.
You would hope so.
That's when.
Come on over, yeah.
By the way, they haven't said it or not, but I probably main event.
Main event.
If I had to guess, second ever match, fucking main event. Let's go. How you doing? Keep it moving. How you doing? Go into a cage. Don't die. All right, here we go.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I'll see you tomorrow I'll be in Florida. The boys will be here. It'll be an interesting show. Tech-wise, Zito's going to figure it out, as is the WWE people I believe we've contacted. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But should be a fun day tomorrow through the rest of the week. Aaron Rodgers Tuesday should be a good one. AJ, we appreciate you, brother.
All right, thanks, guys.
Cheers. See you later.